It's Commander Kumar the Far here, and you're listening to Lave Radio. Now, the next track you're going to be listening to is called What is the Code? Which is what I should have known before I got into any of this mess.
If you are interested in my stuff, you can go to soundcloud.com/KUMARTHEFFAR-1. Fly safe out there.
Eject. so close that I never feel cold. Now I found you, I was alone, out in the dark. Then I saw hollow squares all around. Oh, now the calms call my name every night. Now I found you in the depths, gazing brightly at the neutron star. We share the field, scooping jack cones, leaping to the edges of the night. Oh, I was alone, out in the dark. And I saw hollow squares all around. Oh, I was alone, out in the dark. Heaven was all around. Oh, let's try together. Let's try together. Let's see the tribes blink. Oh, everyone's a soul on a new path, on a brave line. Feel the engines roll. Let's engage it all. Feel the new ride as we all intertwine. Let's jump together. 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 Let's
Galnet News Digest, 17th of February 3308. We read the news so you don't have to. This week, the Emperor speaks out. The President plans to extend his term, and we visit the luckiest starport. The Emperor has spoken, and she says her enemies will have nowhere to hide. Arissa Lavigne Duval made her proclamation from a balcony overlooking a crowd of several million citizens filling Truscan Square and the surrounding streets. Her pronouncements were carried on all Imperial holovid channels. The Emperor thanked those who had kept the Empire running during her year-long absence, including the presumably somewhat short-sighted Chancellor Blaine, who'd failed to notice her absence. Subsequent announcements by the Imperial Palace also thanked ACT and Princess Aisling for their work to establish the truth and to find the missing Emperor. But Emperor Arissa had a stern warning for those responsible for the assassination of members of the Imperial family, for kidnapping the Emperor, for impersonating officers of the Empire, and for the murder of thousands of innocent citizens who were killed in the bombing of the 7 imperial starports. She promised that they would find nowhere to hide from her wrath and from the wrath of the Empire. Several prominent senators, a number of those in Imperial intelligence, and everyone working for Darkwater Incorporated in Summerland are presumably cancelling their plans for the next week or so, in anticipation of the forthcoming vengeance.
Two former presidents have spoken out to condemn President Hudson's plan to remove the 8-year limit on his term of office, branding it unconstitutional and suggesting that it might be the first step down the road from democracy to dictatorship. Like Alliance Prime Minister Mahan, the federal president has an important role in the power play of the inhabited bubble, and it seems that many of his supporters would be reluctant to see him replaced by a new president. The Hudson Contravention, a proposal to temporarily suspend the 77th Amendment to the Federal Accord to allow Hudson to serve past 3309, is highly controversial, not least because of how divisive a leader Hudson has proved to be. He claims the Proactive Detection Bureau as a success, but it was the way Hudson handled the PDB that led to 3307 being the first year in living memory that the Federation shrunk in size. The intervention by former Presidents Antonia Mason and Jasmina Halsey strengthened Shadow President Felicia Winter's hand to put forward a vote of no confidence in Hudson. Madison became president in 3264 after a vote of no confidence was passed against President Eugene Cooper. With President Hudson's historically poor poll ratings and his divisive proposal to set aside the Constitution, Winters may have a good opportunity to repeat Madison's success.
These people in the bar at Bentham Station in HIP 12314 may not be the happiest looking pilots in the galaxy. They look a little bored, don't they? But they're far luckier than they realise. Like the Nauni and Dan systems, HIP 12314 was invaded by Thargoids, but unlike the Beaufoy Vision and Gunport starports in those systems, Bentham Station somehow inexplicably avoided being attacked by the Thargoids. Compare this exterior shot of Bentham Station with this one of Beaufoy Vision. See the difference? Here's what Bentham Station looks like inside. And this is Beaufoy Vision. There's a noticeable difference, isn't there? Why is it that the Thargoids chose to spare Bentham Station? Was it because they found the name of the controlling faction, House of the Rising Sun, witty? We can only speculate. Vox Galactica has published an opinion piece suggesting that the attacks on the three systems are retaliation for Salvation's deployment of his superweapon in three systems in the Pleiades in December. That the Thargoids have moved into the bubble suggests an escalation of the conflict. The question facing humanity is whether we dare risk escalating matters still further by allowing Salvation to use his superweapon again. Perhaps the bored pilots of Bentham Station might have an opinion. And that's this week's Galnet News. Galnet News, we read the news, so you don't have to.
When I first met them, I thought I knew what to expect. Fighting in the Kokio system for independence, freedom and a life. I expected money. I expected battle. I wanted survival. What I found was rebirth. Sometimes defeated, sometimes downtrodden, sometimes killed, but never beaten. Like the phoenix, amid the ashes of failure, grow the children of victory. Our victory our system, our family. The Phoenix Group. Come and join the clan. Find us on Facebook by searching The Phoenix Group.
I'd like to say a huge thank you to all of our patrons who made this series possible. Without an official license, it's dependent on the support of this amazing community to pay for the time of all the people who make this series. If you'd like to learn more about becoming a patron and maybe support the show and get cool rewards, please visit patreon.com/Radio Theatre Workshop. Thank you and enjoy the episode.
Brothers, welcome. In the name of the Free Spirit, I pray you, call out to welcome the coming of the spring on this, the night of our vernal equinox. Light the candles, bang the drums, cheer and sing, for the light is coming back to us. For we dwell underground, and our Lord has provided us these sacred caves. We open the sky dome and herald the coming of the light. See how the light of infinity burst in upon us. What's that? Who is this? Who are you?
You would not believe the journey I have had to get here.
What? You defile this place with your profane presence.
Patience, Guardian. I bring a message from the Empire.
Message? What message?
Did I say message? I meant death. I bring death from the Empire. For too long you have hidden here in the weak shadow of the Federation. Sisters, kill them all.
Yes, sister. Squad 4, move out. Yes, sister.
Squads 2 and 3, cleanse the dormitories. Yes, sister.
Why are you doing this?
Why? Isn't it obvious? I wish to share my darkness. No! The dreams are getting worse. Where are you, Daddy? What are you trying to tell me? Computer, status.
Now approaching Peter's terminal.
Status of crew?
Guest, identity unknown. Minor injuries, stable. Sane, Commander E. Major injuries, stable. Urgent medical assistance required.
Transmit the following code packet to the station.
Confirmed.
Open comms for docking request. Don't worry, Thane. I'll look after you.
Amid the stars in the sky, humanity expands and thrives as it pushes back the boundaries of the universe. From the luxury of the core systems to the harsh worlds of the frontier, men still fight. Some fight for survival or greed. Some fight for a flag and others for retribution. But across the lonely darkness, they all share one aim: to be elite.
Escape Velocity, an Elite Dangerous audio adventure serial written and produced by Christopher Jarvis. Series 3, Episode 1, Golden Boy.
Welcome to Baby Base, your life in the skies above the jewel of inhabited space. If you're transiting to home, thank you for tuning in.
Don't ask me around, Kid Derek. Can you confirm the sighting, man?
Positively. Berlin class fighter, registration EV223. Identified as escape velocity.
That's the one. pilot?
The ship was signed in by Commander Peak. Pilot's registration gives an address at an on-station hotel.
Does it check out?
No, they never checked in. No credit alerts for that name either.
Traveling under false identity then. He'll be here. He won't abandon that ship.
I could take the holo snap you gave us. Check out the hotels and pod hostels. Someone might have seen him come or go.
Do it. I want that rat found, Kendarick.
Consider it done. Trap 1 to Greyhound. Oi, cloth ears. Who's that? It's Aaron. Who else would it be? Listen, take the holo snap. Check out the lower sector. Can you manage that? I'll be up here.
Right.
I'll contact you as soon as we have something.
I look forward to it. You can't hide from me, Thane. I owe you a lesson.
Dr. Finch to OR5. Dr. Finch to OR5.
These are your discharge papers. The credit has been made, therefore your account is clear. Please remember to take this bag of treatments with you and change the gel every day, or if it becomes removed for any reason.
Thank you, nurse. How long will it take to heal?
It is difficult to say. Vacuum exposure affects people differently. The frost wasn't bad enough to require reconstruction. You have been very lucky.
It doesn't feel like it.
Will there be anything else?
Listen, I'm not being funny, but one of the orderlies left me a meal, and I'm not sure if it's okay to...
Consume it? What is your concern?
It's just... I've never been to Berdaho before, but I heard that eating the food turns your skin and eyes...
Golden, like mine.
I'm sorry. Is that a really rude question?
It is not. The gold skin effect is a byproduct of a bacteria only found on home, my people's world. The food in this hospital is either prepared here or grown on carefully monitored home farms, where produce is stringently checked for contamination.
I see. Thank you.
In any case, the gold skin effect is not harmful. It is merely an alteration to appearance.
Oh, no, quite. It's just, for my job, I wouldn't be allowed to appear...
Different.
I'm sorry, yes. I don't mean anything by it.
There is no offence. I assure you. I understand.
So, how's Thane? Mr. Defeer?
Are you related?
We were travelling together. My accident was kind of our accident.
It is difficult. I should not give details to non-familiars. However, he will be conscious for visitors in approximately 2 hours. You can ask him yourself when he comes around.
Thank you.
Please go carefully and avoid jumping out of any more ships.
I'll try. Although that's proving harder than you'd think.
Welcome to Baker Base CommsNet. Would you like to send a message?
Direct holofeed. Federation Security. Subnet AE35 Director Haggerty.
Authentication required.
Go secure.
Feed secured.
Identification SARC. Operative level 6, key Dark Nova Echo 7.
Connection established. Have a nice day.
Sark, where the hell have you been?
Floating in vacuum.
Oh, witching how you look like it. What in space has been happening? The sec feeds have been lighting up. Your face and some pilot all over them. Cormac Reeve has got death marks out on both of you, and the lanes are crawling with bounty hunters looking for some ship called Escape Velocity.
I had to hitch a ride.
You had to hitch... I don't think you appreciate the gravity of this. It took months to arrange your deep cover for Cormac Reeve. False IDs, paper trails, transit record. You blow it all in a day. And now the whole corporation is on lockdown. You better have something to show for it, Sark.
I've found it, Blake.
What?
The evidence. I've got a witness. He's seen the tech, seen the conscripts, and will be willing to testify.
So, this pilot?
The very same.
His records look patchy. Can't say he's the most pedigree witness we've ever called for this kind of prosecution.
But it's not just his testimony. We escaped from Colmac Reeve's own transport. He had a hold full of the pods and was making tracks towards core systems.
You've been unconscious for too long.
How long?
Long enough. Colmac's transport vanished. Didn't complete its scheduled flight plan.
Check the big repair shops. It was damaged. He'll need to...
Nothing doing. By now it'll be hidden back in the Badlands, all records stripped. Unless we check every beaten up transport on the frontier, that'd take months. I hope you've got something better.
The ship! Thane's ship. He said he'd seen the pod tech before when he was asked to ship it from Delta Pavonis to Semius.
Semius? Space, that's a smoking gun and a half.
The trading records will still be on his ship. If I can deep scan the flight computer, I should be able to pull out hard evidence.
All right. Sounds like we have a prospect. Get that data, get that witness, and get back here. No stops, no delays. I want that evidence in my mainframe yesterday.
Yes, sir.
And I'm sure I don't need to remind you to travel carefully and tread quietly. Space knows who's looking for you. Where are you?
Bedaho.
Bedaho? What the hell are you doing out there?
It's out of the way. Look, I haven't had a chance to speak to whoever flew us here, but they've picked a sound strategy, whether it was deliberate or not. It's not on the direct route back from Urolan to the core. Whoever it was gave us pretty convincing cover identities and hid us from station records. It won't stand up to a detailed check, but it's a pretty good hack from the cockpit of a Merlin.
Sounds like you have a guardian angel. Well, better bring them in too.
If I can find them.
No ifs, Operative Zark. I want it done.
Sir?
Federation Command want this whole issue locked down. A lot of opportunity for the agent who makes it so. For the agent who fails, well...
I'll bring it in, sir.
Do that. Haggerty out.
Come on then, Thane. Wake up soon.
Good day, pilot. You are entering Uroland airspace. Please state the nature of your business.
Agent 39, Echidna Corporation. I'm here to see Colmac Reeve.
You have an appointment at the Colmac Reeve Corporation. Who is it you are here to see?
I'm here to see Colmac Reeve.
I'm sorry, sir. Mr. Reeve is not available at the present time. Perhaps you'd be happy with one of our other corporate representatives.
I'm not in the mood for games, and I'm tired of asking you drones to check my clearance. You will give me docking permission in the Colmac Reeve compound.
Yes. Yes, at once, Commander.
I wish to share my darkness. I wish to share my darkness. I wish to share...
Docking successful. Engines disengaged.
I want the backups destroyed. I want the backups of the backups destroyed. I want every hard copy burnt, and I want explosive charges set on all the servers. Everything must burn.
Sir.
The clock is ticking, people. Come on, come on!
Sir, we have a Commander Dallas inbound to see you.
Tell him I'm not here.
We tried that, sir. He was most insistent.
Hey, you can't go in there. Mr. Reeve is in private session.
Dallas, you've picked a hell of a time for a visit. I don't have time for it.
I'm going to ask you a question, and I'm only going to ask it once. Where is Commander Thane?
What are you doing? We had a deal! It hurts! Pull it out!
Don't think you know me, Mr. Colmac. I haven't even started before now. You haven't even begun to see my darkness. Where is Commander Thane?
He jumped ship. We were headed to make the delivery and he blew himself into space.
He's dead?
No, his ship picked him up. The girl was flying it.
Meg.
We couldn't catch them.
Did you scan the hyperspace cloud?
What? No, too much damage.
Idiot. EVA suit or Remlock?
Remlock, him and the woman.
Woman?
My assistant, federal agent, undercover.
Mr. Reeve, I think.
So, Remlock rescue. They'll need medical attention. May will take them somewhere off-route. Somewhere with good medical facilities. Somewhere on the way to where she wants to go. Central, this is Agent 39. I need a data mine on a group of systems within a half radius of my position. Look for the following attributes. Systems with medical facilities, docking records with pilot name discrepancies, and forwarding address records with no corresponding residence booking.
Acknowledged.
You can run, May, but you can't hide the way your designers make you think.
Slow down. Wait till she gets close, then distract her. I'll go for and get the gun. No, it's too dangerous. I can do it. I'll kill you. It's too dangerous. Say, now! Andrew, no! No! Andrew.
Mr. DeFeer? You can open your eyes, Mr. DeFeer.
Where am I?
Hospital. Can you see, Mr. DeFeer?
I'm not DeFeer.
Really? It says DeFeer right here on your chart. I'd hate to think you are abusing our services for ungoddess behaviour.
Oh, sorry, DeFeer. Of course I am. Head must still be spinning.
Please take it easy. You've been in an accident.
Just a little spacewalk.
Then you should not be relying on a remlock for EVA.
I hear you. Where's May?
I'm sorry.
The girl who brought me in.
I have not seen her since admission. I am sure she is around.
Computer access.
Accessing public records.
Where is Van Manen Star?
Van Manen Star is a white dwarf located in galactic reference -7, -12, -4, relative to Sol.
Expand record.
Van Manen Star is an isolationist religious enclave. The system was given to the Guardians of the Free Spirit sect by the Federation in 2480. They believe in maximum hardship and live underground. Federal law forbids transit to the system without a permit, and it is widely reported that the system has a death penalty for the most severe trespass violations.
Estimated net worth of the Van Manen Star mineral wealth.
Most of the stellar bodies are comprised of large quantities of ice. Compared to galactic average, Van Manen Star is estimated to be in the 5th percentile for mineral wealth.
Worthless. Why would anyone go to war there? Computer, show government affiliation.
Van Manen Star is an independent system, geographically surrounded by many federal core worlds. The system is classed as a federal protectorate under terms of the 2480 Treaty.
So the only benefit of attacking the Brotherhood is war.
You have something for me?
Had a tip off from a docker. Saw your pilot and a woman being loaded out of a ship on a stretcher.
And?
Got them. Goddess Mercy Hospital on C deck. Been there most of the day.
Excellent. I will pay them a visit myself.
Orders?
Stick around, in case I need you.
Can I help you, bub?
Flowers, please. Something for a sick man. Or possibly a funeral. I'm only planning the one appointment.
10 creds.
I can't see you properly. What's with my eyes?
They have been bathed in Omnigel. Damage from the cold. Your vision will return.
Great. Is that it?
No, you are suffering from decompression sickness, and we have detected an arterial gas embolism.
Can you fix it?
We have done what we can with medication. To reduce the risk to your health, you must be placed in a pressurization chamber.
That sounds like it will take a while. Anything quicker?
You do not understand, Mr. DeFeer. If you exert yourself, the gas bubbles in your bloodstream could kill you. Currently, your blood pressure is as low as we can safely keep it. Without a course of slow decompression, you could suffer a fatal embolism.
Get on with it then. Oh, I hate hospitals.
We are waiting upon the availability of the decompression chamber. Another patient is inside.
Fine. Are you sure my eyes are okay? You look strange.
I may look strange to you, but I assure you that my appearance is perfectly normal.
I'm sorry, I meant no offence. Wait, are you a gold skin?
I am.
No. Are we in the Bedaho system?
We are. This is the Goddess Mercy Clinic on Peter's Terminal.
I've got to get out of here.
Mr. DeFeer, please stay in your bed. I must warn you.
I can't be here. I have to go. He'll find me.
Please, lie back down.
You don't understand. This is his system. Let go of me.
Doctor, I require a sedative.
No, wait.
Quickly, this man must be made calm.
You can't just... Here, let go.
Please do not be agitated. You may suffer great injury.
Or Stallion could kill me.
Please. Thank you, Doctor.
Wait, you can't.
Please rest, Mr. DeFeer. Lie down and become calm. May the goddess watch over you.
Must run.
What happened?
Your friend became agitated. He has now been sedated.
I can't talk to him.
Not in his present condition. We will move him to the chamber shortly. Then you may speak with him.
Central to Dallas, we have your intel.
Go ahead.
Cross-reference with traffic reports for a Merlin class fighter. 3 systems match your criteria. Ansi, Tiliala, and Bedaho.
Anseath is too hot. Practically a war zone. She'll avoid that. Let's see, May. Where would you run with Thane? No good. No clear tactical advantage. I'll check on both. Bedaho is closest.
Confirm 39. Good hunting.
So, this was your idea of an escape?
Sark? You've got to get me out of this thing.
Don't sweat it. A few boring hours in the tube and you'll be good to go.
Where's May?
I haven't seen her since we've arrived, but someone handled our identities and paid the medical bills.
You have to get me out of here. This system isn't safe for me.
I doubt you'll show up on the authority sweeps. Your friend is quite the hacker.
It's not the authorities I'm worried about. This one's... personal.
Thane, you've been through a lot. You've just lost your... whatever. I should just warn you. It's going to get hectic when we leave here. You should take the chance to rest.
I'll rest once I'm away from here. Get me out.
Fine. I'll go and see what the shortest time is they can run this thing.
Sark, wait.
What now?
Where did those flowers come from?
I haven't seen them before. Wait here. I'll be back quickly.
Sark? Sark!
Alert. Fire detectors in triage. Seeking bulkhead doors for your safety.
What the... What's happening?
Hello, slave.
Sark?
Your friend had to go. Such a shame. Pretty little thing.
Commander Stallion.
Of course. You dare come to my front yard and flaunt the ship you stole from me, and you expect me not to notice? To bend over and take the abuse? I think not.
Computer, what is echidna?
3 records found. Echidna is an animal in the monotremes order of mammals. Despite its status as a mammal, the egg-laying echidna...
Next.
Echidna, in Sol mythology, was the lover of Typhon and mother to several creatures, notably Hydra, Cerberus, Scylla, Gorgon...
Next.
Echidna Corporation was a research and development contractor for the Federation between 3165 and 3216.
3216? The year of my father's death. Computer, show all records for the Echidna Corporation.
Echidna Corporation was a research and development contractor for the Federation.
You've told me that. Expand entry.
No records available.
What did they research and develop?
No records available.
Who owned the corporation?
No records available.
Which federal body commissioned them?
No records available.
If there are no records available, where did the reference come from?
Please wait. Working.
What?
Echidna Corporation. Reference extracted from student thesis. Terry Mertes. Charting the Cosmos. Options for exploratory labour.
Play entry.
However, exploration is not complex work given the support from adequate sensors, so it could be optimal to use human clones for the work. These drones would be bred without familial ties or longings and have been given the kind of boosted lifespan which would make long charting expeditions possible. Unfortunately, this kind of cloning research has been hampered by social taboo and legal control. Such controls were alluded by Dr. Karl Linsky in his book, Perfecting the Human, in which he said,
"Throughout my working life, practical application of these theories have been limited. Even in my time at Echidna Corporation from 65 to 3216, we were able to do very little we could commit to public record, despite the advantages we offered the Federation.
Thus it may be our aspirations are limited by our very human and, if I may say, antique morality."
Contextual extract ends.
Computer. Access book Perfecting the Human by Dr. Karl Linsky.
No records found.
If it was quoted in a student thesis, it must exist. Show all records for Dr. Karl Linsky.
Linsky, Dr. Karl. Improved crop yield in low G, 3168. Mapping the nutrient cycle, 3175. Radiation management in star decay, 3181. The Governor's Mistress, fiction. Written under pseudonym Dolores Matterhorn, 3199.
So Perfecting the Human was deleted. Who could do that?
Get me out! Someone get me out of here!
Oh, they can get to you. And you can't get out. My. That chamber does look very well sealed.
Your skin?
Yes, I went gold. I rather think it suits me.
What do you want?
I'd always hoped to meet you in space. I wouldn't have wanted to hurt my ship, of course, but spreading your ashes across the stars you so craved seems somehow poetic.
Don't do this.
My, your charts are quite a mess. Sudden decompression, arterial gas embolism, nasty. I hope you didn't damage my ship doing this.
Listen, we can work this out. What was the insurance cost on it? I can triple it. I'm working for...
Cost? My dear fellow, you cost me face. I had a couple of sweet little things from that fetid dust bowl you call home. They were suitably fed, watered and drugged and ready to come back with me to rock my cabin. And what do I find when I get back to my docking berth? Nothing. Do you know how that made me look?
I needed a way out.
Well, that's what I'm here for. To provide you with an exit. Now, how do these pressure controls work? I assume this is up.
No, wait!
Oh my, that does look painful. Now, what happened to that other little piece I saw you with?
Thank you for helping me, Elias.
Everybody calls me Thane now.
Oh, very strong.
Not that way!
Is she still here somewhere? She seemed quite the sort. I should like to reacquaint myself with her.
I hope you don't have to hide forever, Thane. For your own sake.
Andrew, no!
You still know how to impress a girl.
Don't you dare talk about her!
Oh dear. Wrong attitude. I think the pressure needs to go up again. I think you're bleeding. Did they leave you tissues in there?
Get me out of here!
Quite right. Time you were out of that tin. I wonder what would happen if I completely reset the pressure.
No, wait! Oh, my ears! May, where are you?
Doors open, Thane. Time to run. Thane. Run into the underbelly of the station, where you belong.
Hello? Who is this?
Dr. Linsky?
Yes?
Act naive. Lower his security. Doctor, I hope you'll forgive me for contacting you like this. I'm a research student, and I'm trying to corroborate some notes I've made. I'm struggling to get a distribution of some of your work.
I'm retired, I am sorry.
Flatter him. Make him want to talk. That's a pity. Your work was amazing.
Well, I worked hard to improve life for our expanding world.
Make it personal. He wants to be a hero. My settlement took to heart your work on improved crop yield. I remember I'd never eaten so much food. We used to think feeling hungry was normal.
It amazes me the authorities never set up the information banks I suggested. What is it you are studying, my dear?
He's becoming sensual. Tap into his carnal side. Is it true you also wrote erotic fiction? Are you some kind of Renaissance man?
Well, you embarrass me, my dear. Yes, I suppose I felt science wasn't the only passion a person should fulfill.
Well, it made quite an impression on me, I can assure you.
I'm glad to have touched you so profoundly. So, which work are you struggling to locate? I can see if I have backups in my records.
I'm looking for a piece you wrote called Perfecting the Human. No, idiot. That's pushing too hard.
Never call me again.
Damn it. Computer, did my subcarrier lock on?
Affirmative. Coordinates obtained.
Excellent.
Come on.
You can't run forever, Thane. Of course, I was going to take my ship back after I kill you, but now you've sweated all over it. Your outcast slave, filth, will be all over it. I shall probably have to have it scrapped.
You still know how to impress a girl? Merlin class. It's a bit beaten up, isn't it?
Travel between systems can be a bit rough.
You don't sound at all well, dear fellow. Should you be out of your bed?
Keep moving, Thane, and keep breathing. Just breathe.
Look at you, crawling around down there in the grime and dirt. You're an animal, aren't you, slave? An animal that needs to be put down. A fine trophy to warn others against stealing from Commander Stallion. I do so enjoy a good hunt.
Where is he? Can't see him. Where?
Just warming the barrel. I find it fires so much more accurately after a few proving shots. Running out of room now, Thane. That gantry doesn't go anywhere.
No. And here we are. The end of the road. I hope you enjoyed your stolen view of the stars. Is that what you'll take with you, I wonder? Or will your last memory be the burning fire in your ribcage? Nothing to say? Oh, well. Head up, fellow. Wouldn't want to damage your skull for my display cabinet. Ready?
Don't do this.
Aim.
Not like this.
Can't breathe.
Fire.
Sark!
You're okay. You're okay. He's gone. You'll be okay.
Welcome to Peter's Togo, Commander. How can we assist you today?
Greetings, OTC. I'm looking for a buddy of mine. Flies around in a beaten-up Merlin.
What name, sir?
Thane.
I'm sorry, we have no registered pilots booked in under that name.
I'm sorry. What am I thinking? He might be travelling under his married name. Let's just see here. DeFeer. You got a Mr. DeFeer staying with you?
I'm afraid
morning. Can I help with anything?
Computer, begin scan for hyperspace departure clouds. Limit scan to mass sizes for Merlin-class fighter.
1. New target.
That's him! Not long now, Thane. I will share my darkness with you.
In episode 1 of Escape Velocity, Christopher Jarvis played Thane, Amy Timms, May, Liam Macaulay, Dallas, and Janet Westwood Wilson played Sark. Scott Joseph was Stallion, Samantha Bayard the Goldskin Nurse, with Andy Seacombe as Dr. Linsky, and Verity Croft as the computer. Other parts were played by Anthony G. Wilkes, Ashley Devine, Dean Sheridan, James Trott, and Steph Wyeth. Escape Velocity was written and produced by Christopher Jarvis with music by Alan Stroud, and is a Radio Theatre Workshop production. Elite Dangerous is copyright Frontier Developments. For more information and full credits, please visit escapevelocity.laveradio.com. Escape Velocity has a limited range of merchandise, which supports the production of the show, and looks and feels great. At the moment we have t-shirts and travel mugs, both featuring original Escape Velocity artwork, and available in a range of sizes and colours. The travel mugs were limited edition to LaveCon, so when they're gone, they're gone. If you'd like some Escape Velocity swag, please visit www.radiotheatreworkshop.com and click on the store, where you can get all these things, as well as our other great audio dramas. Thank you.
Next track is called Futuristic Map. It's not a real name because it was a name for the map of the future of a game called Perth Middle Age. If you like it, please visit my website www.nikosfelix.com, and please, buddies, enjoy the show on Lave Radio.
Hello and welcome to Lave Radio.
Greetings and welcome to Lave Radio.
Greetings, Commanders.
Greetings, Commanders.
A show that talks about the universe of Elite
and the development of the computer game Elite 4, known as Elite Dangerous.
And the fantastic community that surrounds it.
Broadcast from a current Sidewinder and hosted by a vending machine technician.
A place of nonsense and innuendo for forum dads.
A self-contained podcast 2 hours long.
Transmitting to every corner of the galaxy.
It's even louder than me.
The hottest show this side of Dizzo.
The name of the place.
Lave Radio.
Lave Radio.
Lave Radio.
Lave Radio.
Oh.
And you're doing so well too.
Oh, I was psyching myself up then.
So I can play the intro again. It's fine. It's great.
Do the thing.
Do the
thing.
I see. All these years later, things are just as smooth as when we originally.
Stay the same.
Yep. Hi, I'm Tox. I'm back from the dead.
Are we back? Control Alt Delete. We're back. Greetings, Commanders, and welcome to episode 379 of Lave Radio, the show that likes to talk about the universe of Elite and the fantastic community that surrounds it. I'm your host, Commander Phoenix Defire, Chief Archivist of Lave Station, and joining me in the Orange Sidewinder Bar for this episode are the following. We will start with Station Commander Alan Stroud.
Aye.
We have the second technician, Chris Forrester.
Hey! The seat still squeaks.
That's your job to fix it. We have our Director of Pest Control, Dr. Toxic.
Hello, welcome to Lave Radio Chiropractic Clinic. Can I take your order?
We have our Chief of Operations, Commander John Stabler.
Good evening.
We have our Chief Bar Steward, Grant Psycho Cow Woolcott.
All right, keep your feet off the bar.
And joining me, as always, we have our Head of Health and Safety, Ben Moss-Woodward, otherwise known as Id Levice.
It is way too hot and sweaty over there, so I've run away from Lave for the time being. And Alex seems to have joined me.
We have our Staff Liaison Officer, Commander Psychiat.
What is going on?
And finally, and last but not least, Inhuman Resources Director, Commander Shan.
Hello.
Now, you may have noticed that this bar seems to be quite packed tonight. And the reason for this is because it's Lave Radio's 9th birthday. The game's only been out for 7 and a bit years, but it's still Lave Radio's... So, if you wish, you can join us live. We're hanging out in-game, in open. Ben is about to do something unique. What are you going to be doing tonight, Ben?
I'm going to be doing the Pareco 8 thingy bobber that everyone else has been doing the past 2 months, and I ran out of time on Sunday, so I was like, sod it, I'll do it live on air.
Cool. Right, so that's what you're doing. However, what we've tried to do is get as many people as we can in the bar at Lave Station. And I must admit, it does look quite packed. So if you can actually join us, I seem to have turned into a pair of floating glasses on someone's stream at the moment, but you can just... You can join us at laveradio.com/live, click on the live chat. You can go to Twitch TV/Lave Radio, or you can go to YouTube, look up Lave Radio, and Facebook, because we're streaming to all 3. So, we're not going to do introductions, because basically we'll be here forever. So I think we'll quickly just go straight on to the development news. Now, what have the developers been saying about Elite Dangerous this week? Has anyone got a tumbleweed sound?
What about some crickets?
Yeah, something like that. Because nothing. Absolutely sod all. So basically, that's about 3 weeks in a row now that we really haven't had anything. Anybody want to put forward an idea why? Or we're just going to give up?
They're working hard, talking internally on what they can. They're working hard on sorting out their communications internally before releasing more information that we know what to do with.
I personally think they're all busy playing 40k.
If they've got a cross between XCOM and 40k, I think that is quite a a diversion, isn't it?
Although seriously, they might be arranging Friday's Frontier Meet.
There is that. Yeah, but this Friday for special effects, there is a meetup for various people of the community who have put forward donations, and I think, have we got a full crew growing? Because I know I'm on my way. And
I can't go. I have real life.
Psychic?
Yeah, I'm going.
Excellent.
Providing that I don't have like a disaster reading or anything like that, I'm obviously going to do a test and double check. But at the moment, yeah, we're going.
Excellent. And of course, Shan, you're heading there.
That's right. You'll have the pleasure of my company before I head off and interrogate fiercely the developers.
Psychic. Sorry, not Psychic. Psycho Cow. What would you like to say?
Just wondering if the devs are going to code some bathrooms, because I've just been in the bar for an hour waiting for the show and I'm busting, but I just went and pissed in the lift like every good commander.
Yes, the lack of toilet facilities at Lave Station Bar is a bit of a concern.
Is that the Glaswegian facilities, the lift?
Well, there's no plant pots. That's a real thing that actually happened. I'm not going to go into that any further. But just move on. Move on.
It's a good job there's not CCTV in the lifts then, isn't there?
That you know of. Anyway, I thought the flight suits kind of reprocessed the waste, just like still suits do.
Yeah, wrong franchise.
You just go in the suit like the astronauts, right?
Well, it's what we've been doing.
So if the liquid is processed and you have to drink it.
So if the liquid is turned into water, are the solids turned into food?
Yes.
I just don't understand. Hold on, this is going to be one hell of an awkward conversation of Frontier and the next Lave Corner asked about sewage processing, and you all find out that you're walking around with your flight suits half full of raw sewage, just filling your legs up and sticking your feet in your boots.
all of a sudden, I've got an image of Billy Connolly tying on the incontinence pants right now.
I'm just worried about where the Lave Radio chocolate birthday cakes come from.
Oh, man.
Or even the Christmas logs.
There we go, ladies and gentlemen. Lave Radio, always classy. So, yes, we've had a couple of... To be fair, there's been a couple of posts done by Bruce and by Paul, mostly covering just little bug fixes or stuff that has to be sorted. And yes, that's been about it. No streams, no communication. The last big communication was from ARF 2 weeks ago, which we discussed last week. And believe it or not, that thread is still going. Ben has started his lap. I think he's got 13 to beat. So, we shall move on from the development news and just cover the in-game events which have been happening this week. Well, on the 16th of February, the Emperor Orisa retook the Imperial throne after being on ice for the last year. So, a lot of fireworks will be happening in the Empire, which happened the next day because the Empire declared war on Darkwater Inc., which has basically wiped them out, all of them. So that was a community goal, which has now completed, and I do believe there was a lot of dead Blackwater employees.
Was the only way to support Blackwater
No.
not to do the CG?
Oh no, there was nothing to do to support Blackwater. It was very much an Emperor Palpatine order.
Of course there was. You had to shoot Shan.
Well, no one managed it. So, no, I was just wondering because it would have been an ideal way of trying to sow chaos and stuff around by supporting Blackwater, and
it's because you wanted to.
Of course.
Shan sowing chaos, that never happens.
No, I thought he was a law and order type. That chaotic neutral streak in him, yeah. Right, what else has been happening? Oh, yes. On the 17th of February, the Colonia Bridge project has started again. It has also completed. So there's been we're kind of CG-less at the moment. So, yes.
What, even the Colonia one's finished?
Oh, no, the Colonia one's still going, but the local one's finished. So, yeah. These things go very, very quickly. Because they were already... well, that was one of the things that Bruce was talking about. They were complaining about the lack of rewards. Which is always a...
Wait, wasn't there warm white lights? Cosmetic rewards for free without paying for your arcs?
Something like that.
So what were these warm white lights? Do we know what they look like? Other than being
Yeah,
warm
they're in
white?
game. They're the white lights that you can get, or like your lights that go over the top of the dashboard and stuff.
Right, so they're not anything different than what we have already. They're just free white lights.
Yeah. It's not like the fireworks, that was new. These are just a cosmetic item that already exists.
Well, a slight alteration to them, aren't they? They're not exactly the same.
No, it's called warm white lights in the livery.
Oh, right, well, I take it back then. But still, if you hadn't got warm lights, you get warm lights.
What would be the IKEA name for them, I wonder?
Dostenvold! I don't know.
Wow, that was fast. Dostenvold. Wow. Brighton Svennen. Anyway, on the 18th of February, the Thargoid invasion was mentioned again in the news. As the Empire, the Federal Navy, and the Alliance all still haven't got their act together to stop the Thargoids, it's just independent pilots who are pushing or trying to save the attack systems. So fair play to the Anti-Xeno Initiative for being that thin blue line. And on the 21st of February, further revelations were revealed. It turned out that Adrian Augustus de Val was actually found innocent of all the manipulation and traitorous acts that he was doing. This is because the Lords of Restoration, who were all connected with the Darkwater Inc. and the stealing of the Emperor, they successfully framed him. So ACT has now found him innocent. So he doesn't need to be in protective custody anymore. And finally, Hudson's contravention has now sparked federal protests. This is President Hudson is trying to get an extra term in his... he's trying to run for an extra term this year, so that basically he will break the Constitution. And of course, that is causing an awful lot of problems with people who like the Federation as it is. So, other things to mention: Operation Ida. They're currently targeting Gunport in Dan, and that means that they've just completed a station recently, so there's a full station for people to repair. And the Anti-Xeno Initiative's 3 priority systems this week are HIP 62154, Lembas, and Coalsack Sector VU-O B6-6. I think that one has been the third target for people to clear for the last 4 weeks. So I don't think people are giving that any priority. So, yes. Right. Well, that was quick. Everybody felt they're all caught up?
Yeah, actually, after so long from being away, I feel like I'm caught up with everything.
The only thing we're missing was 4 experts all talking about the same thing 24 hours a day.
Right. Well, I guess we'll move on to that time of the week.
Store alert!
Well, we actually have nothing special to report. But as it's the 9th birthday, we thought we'd use the really special one by Jay Entrax and his wife. There does seem to be, the store does seem to be highlighting the Vulture salvage skins. I'm not quite so sure if they've done those ones before. And there's also an in-cockpit cactus. Thumbs up. I hardly use the Vulture, so I'm not quite so sure whether or not it appeals to me.
An in-cockpit cactus, is there not a less dangerous plant to have in a moving vehicle than a cactus?
What you mean? You see, sometimes you notice that when you're in a combat zone and you shoot a ship a lot, it'll actually seem to go dead and just fly in a straight line. I think that is when the cactus gets dislodged and it goes straight into the pilot's head. What about you, Jan?
Well, I was thinking that actually a cactus is an ideal plant for a zero-G environment, simply because you could coat the walls with like the non-prickly side of Velcro, so when it gets loose and floats around, it then sticks to the wall of the ship. So it's like a Velcro attachment. If you had a normal plant, it would bounce off the walls and spill the earth everywhere and make a mess. But a cactus makes sense because it would just stick to somewhere and not go anywhere.
Useful tip. So, yeah, I guess... I mean, is anybody actually still interested in the ship skins? Or do you think... Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. I think if they brought out something entirely new, like you know how I feel about stars. It's no secret. But when they brought out that Cobra Mark III skin with the star on it, and I think there's a couple of other ones, and that was a new design, and it didn't feel like just rehashing something else but putting it onto a different ship. That kind of stuff I still like, and I would be very tempted by it.
Mm-hmm.
If it was very nice, and if it either came in pink or it had stars all over it, I'm there.
Yeah. What about you, Shan?
I think they should bring out Cobra Mark IV skins.
It's a lot of work for like a very small amount of the player base who still play.
Yes, but think of the fun it would bring.
I mean, I'm down for it. I don't give a shit. You can have your Cobra Mark IV skin if you want it, but it just feels like it might be a waste of art.
Ben, hush.
Oh, no, just don't go there, because that happened last time. Psycho Cow? Yes, Fawcett, that's about right.
I mean, I've obviously been doing a lot of racing stuff, but and then there's third-party apps that allow you to overlay your own skins and stuff, and it allows people to get that inappropriate content out without actually causing any legal issues for the game. But why don't we? I mean, because there's a lot of in-game organizations and products now. You've got your nice big billboard in the bar here. Where are the kind of sponsored sort of skins that you could get for Lave and Brandy, where your ship can have, a Lave and Brandy advert stamped on it, and I don't know, maybe discounts in Lave Station if you happen to dock using those skins?
That would be a fantastic idea. I'd love it. I think a Lave Brandy skin would probably be very, very good on ships.
So what you could do then, thinking about that, you could actually get paid credits to fly around in a branded sheepskin.
Advertising Lave and Brandy. You are a flying advert.
Exactly.
Right. Well, that's a good start, I guess. Go. We have cracked through this very, very quickly. Well, mostly because not really much extra to talk
we
about.
We didn't have the what are you doing next week section, and I don't even think we had a bathroom update, have we yet?
Actually, I mean that is a good point.
Easy.
What? What have I done now?
No, they're a dangerous thing. You know. Sometimes you get what you ask for. Sometimes you get told to get on your bike.
and am I riding anywhere at the moment then, Cal?
Yeah, maybe walking. No, but we'll maybe come to that later on.
Certainly. Well, if that's the case, then I think we will have to take, believe it or not, an ad break. And we will come back and say hello to this massive crowd of people we've got in the bar.
We buy any ship.
Bar none.
We buy any ship.
Bar none. Any model, any colour, any shape, any size.
We buy any ship.
Bar none. We here at We Buy Any Ship Bar None are ready to take your excess space travel vehicles off your hands. No more negotiating with dodgy space station vendors. We'll simply give you an estimated quote online. Then, when you get here, we'll point out all the little dents and scratches that make the price get smaller and smaller before we actually give you any money. And the beauty is, we take any ship.
We buy any ship.
Bar none. Terms and conditions apply. We Buy Any Ship excludes trading in any of the following vehicles: Adder, Anaconda, Asp, Boa, Cobra, Constrictor, Cruisers, Eagle, Falcon, Gecko, Griffin, Gear, Harris, Harrier, Hawk, Kestrel, Crate, Lanners, Lifters, Lions, Mantis, Merlin, Moray, Osprey, Panther, Puma, Python, Seiko, Sidewinder, Skeet, Spar, Stowmaster, Tearsel, Tiger, Transporter, Turner, Viper, Wyvern, or any Imperial or Thargoid vessels.
The Second Technician Incidents. Written and produced by Alan Stroud and Chris Fozzo Forrester for laveradio.com.
Foz, isn't that your pager?
Ah, damn it. No worries, guys. Hold the fort for 2 seconds. I'll be right back.
Attention. Second Technician Chris Forrester to the station gantry. The vending machine has broken. Repeat, Second Technician Forrester to the gantry. The vending machine has broken. Attention. Medical officer to the gantry. Medical officer to the gantry.
Have you been missold PPI? Python Protection Insurance was missold if you didn't want it, ask for it, or need it.
I was missold Python Protection Insurance and I got a claim worth 3,000 credits.
At Cowell & McGrath, we are ready to pursue claims for pilots who were sold PPI, even though they didn't have an escape pod.
When my partner's ship was destroyed, the insurance became invalid. I settled out of court for enough credits to restart my narcotics and weapons shipping business.
Millions have been missold Python Protection Insurance they can never claim, simply because they don't have an escape pod. Why should you pay for not reading the small print?
My husband was missold PPI. As a result of our claim, we now own Jupiter.
Cowell & McGrath, turning your carelessness into profitable lawsuits.
I could murder a cup of tea. Yorkshire Gold, if you have it. Double Yorkshire Gold. And if you don't have it, you're dead. Lave Radio, broadcasting to every corner of the galaxy.
And welcome back. Well, let's see. Happy birthday to us, 9 years. When Lave Radio Episode 1 came out on the 22nd of February 2013, well, yes, it was happy. Well, today is actually Happy Tuesday. Who put that in the notes?
I did.
So the 22nd of the 2nd, 2022. First time in 900 years.
Yes, today apparently is palindromic and an ambiogram, which a palindrome is when a number or word reads the same backwards as it does forwards. An ambiogram apparently is when a word or number reads the same upside down.
Wow. Yes, we've just been shansplained.
And of course, that's far more important than the fact that we've been running a Lave Radio podcast for 9 years.
For 9 years.
Well, this is 900 years, so in effect, it's 100 times rarer.
Yeah. So massively more important, clearly.
Well, Estonia became the first country to establish a national system of fast chargers for electric cars 9 years ago today. Raul Castro was elected for a second term as president of Cuba. Kepler 37b, the smallest known exoplanet, was discovered. And Argo won 3 Oscars in the Academy Awards, including one for Best Picture. Jennifer Lawrence won the Oscar for Best Supporting Actress. And Daniel Day-Lewis won Best Actor for President Lincoln. So, yeah, I don't remember any of those events because it's that long ago.
I know I'm slow on the uptake here, but has anybody else been spending the last 60 seconds writing the date out and then turning around upside down? Because that does not look like it's the same upside down to me as... Maybe it's just my handwriting, but 22.22.22 upside down just looks like ZZ or ZZ or 77.77.
So I bet you're the sort of person who never saw boobless on a calculator when you typed your name.
Well, you wouldn't see boobless, you'd see boobies.
Boobless.
Sean has got that wrong all his life, and he's only just worked that out. That's great.
And that comes from the math genius known as Alan Stroud.
Oh well, maths was never the issue. It was physics, frankly.
Yes. It's so good having you guys on. It really is. So, as we've got everybody here, we'd like a couple of things for everybody to reminisce about while we talk about this. Starting with the first question, we'll start with. Actually, we'll start with Psycho Cow, if that's okay with you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep. I'd like to know what your favourite community experience has been in the entire 9 years that we've been doing this.
Ooh, well, there's loads, and it's great. I get to go first. So, I'd even put it in as my little notes. I put it in as a sort of like everyone else who speaks before me will say that, so therefore I'll just put it in as a word and go, yeah, LaveCon, right, and then move on. So I didn't put any other notes in there about that, so I'll leave it for other people to bring that up so that I won't spoil it for them. Some of the things that were absolutely spectacular. The 24-hour charity streams that Frontier used to do at Christmas, I think those were some of the most amazing and exciting times to be involved in the community events that were going on around the game. Mm-hmm. The charity events, like the Truckers Up Tidy, that was a spectacular day. And again, the way that the whole community would come together and do different things on the sides of these stuff, so that it created an event around the game of just people being involved and connected and supporting each other, which is spectacularly good. And then, of course, there's the sort of the creative madness that then breeds. I mean, there's a sort of point here. I know there's a certain commander out there that has been sending me chessboards for the last couple of days solid. Every day I've received a new chessboard. And this is all because in Generation Zero, I will blow up every chessboard I come across. And it's that kind of creative madness. I'm not sure, is it creative madness or is it creative bullying? I think it's bullying.
Creative
harassment. Yeah, it's
creative harassment.
That's what it is. I think it's creative harassment. The way that we'll find somebody's weakness and then exploit it to the maximum just to cause maximum entertainment for everybody else. Yeah, that's what it is. It's harassment. That's Taryn, you're harassing me. Although I did retaliate, so I'm sure it'll balance out, and I believe that Russia is sending some peacekeepers to come and sort out the issue in due course. But it's that creative madness and the support and the kind of harassment that goes on that would bring us to the continual demands, even now, for bathroom updates.
Oh, is it time for your bathroom update?
I think if Ventura is ready, I think it is time for the bathroom update. But if he's not ready, then, we can wait a few seconds.
So what hotel was that in?
I love that.
How very dare you?
Mia on the chat room and says, "That's not your Lave. That's photos you took in B&Q. Hashtag fake Lave."
I agree.
Some nice ones in there, yeah. One day it might look like some of them. It might.
If Russia was to produce a laboratory, it would look like that.
I was going to say there is absolutely no bloody way that is anywhere in your house, Cal.
It's not. It's in the hotel up the road from him.
That's where I'm going to be staying if I don't get this bloody bathroom done soon.
So there you go, ladies and
I was
gentlemen.
expecting to be trolled. I expected there to be a shot of a reflection in the mirror of somebody sat, kind of trying really hard to think about something. And it didn't happen, so I'm actually let down.
I never occurred to me to use a mirror reflection. Yeah.
You were looking for someone straining.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh.
Or a floaty that had been left behind.
Oh, really?
It's Cow. What'd you expect?
Yeah, that's a fair point, actually.
Oh, right, fair enough. Right, moving on from Cow. I think we will annoy our good friend John Stabler. How have you been,
Me?
John? Yes.
Yeah, I've been really good.
So the question, we're asking this question to everybody at the moment. So what has been your favourite community experience while Lave Radio's been running?
Well, you see, thanks to Cow for not taking LaveCon. But I'm actually going to be more specific than that, and I'm going to be really selfish with it as well. In that it's something that happened at LaveCon.
Go on.
I'll
This sounds
leave
good.
LaveCon as a thing for other people to use as well. But obviously, I've missed LaveCon. Something's been missing from my life. You know, there's been something happened, and they've kept on cancelling it. I don't know what's been going on. But basically, there's not been a LaveCon. But the last one I went to, I had a great time because I was sat in the main kind of area by the bar, and I had a SNES emulator, and I was challenging everyone to try and beat me in Street Fighter 2, and I thrashed everybody. So I do believe that officially after that, I am the best Street Fighter 2 player in the whole Lave community. So there you go.
I just remember really enjoying beating you and Fozzer up at Gang Beasts.
Well,
that's true.
I
remember
don't
that well,
like
unfortunately.
physics-based stuff. Yeah. So
Can you
but no,
believe, though,
it's
after
that
9
kind of
years,
after
I was about to do another racist Welsh language joke and take the mick out of the way you said bar. As if I hadn't learned my lesson from, episodes 1, 2, and 3. And
You don't want to
seriously.
go there. You don't wanna go there.
Seriously. It's like, what are you doing? See, I've learned. I've grown as a person. I didn't make the bad racist joke. See? I have grown.
You still thought about it, though.
I did! I have to say I did.
Isn't that the actual first line in the first episode about casual racism? Casual
It was.
racism.
It really
Foster
was. Colin,
opened
yes.
really, really strong.
I did.
But
Although, to
talking
be
of
fair to Fozzer, wasn't it like the 5th time he opened?
Oh. It took us a while to get that first episode in the can.
Yeah, it was the first line in the second recorded episode, but the first broadcast episode. The first line in the actual first episode was, "Sorry guys, I can't do this." That was the first line in the actual first recorded episode.
Not by me, I hasten to add.
No, not by any of us.
Yeah, that's a story that. Oh yes, well, no, we shall move on from that one.
Well, I tell you what, just to add that how things have changed since the early days, and I don't want to say that things have gone downhill with Lave Radio.
Oh yeah, here we go.
But right, you opened up this week with development news.
Yes.
And you said that there was no news, and so, but back in my day, our day. That didn't stop us. We could still fill 2 hours full of speculation and making stuff up. What happened?
Well, shit, we did one episode that was 6. We sat and literally just laughed and laughed and laughed for 6 hours.
We get
It was
told off by Colin if we
ridiculous.
do that. We get told off by Colin if we do that.
And you'd have all been sat in silence because we'd have been speculating for 2 hours. And then we'd have been like, oh, well, thanks for coming on, guys. Really appreciate you all being here. Anyway, bye.
Yeah, we're giving you room to breathe. This is our everybody show. We didn't want to basically clog it up with useless speculation.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying we still make a show out of anything. And but I mean, I'm sure we could speculate for 6 hours. But this is why I probably haven't been doing hundreds of episodes, because we used to edit it back in those days. So 6 hours of speculation would be extremely problematic and would upset me so much.
Can I let you into a secret about current Lave Radio?
What?
All the shows pretty much are made out of nothing, and we very often have a main topic about 20 seconds before we go live.
Okay. Sometimes it happens during the show. And those are the best main topics, when we just come up with something, okay, that'll do.
Oh, the philosophy hasn't changed much then.
Yeah, exactly, that's right.
You have to remember, this is what we did back in the day, that we need to say to Frontier is, can you send out an email with a black and white line drawing of something that may or may not be a gun? And we will talk about that.
Oh, well, they'll probably mention something about changing one small mat that'll have a knock-on effect for something, and then that will cause a good hour and a half. We can go on that without a problem.
Yeah, nowadays, if they censored what a picture or a sketch of a gun, it would upset people because they wouldn't meet their expectations what a gun should look like.
Yeah, we just had concept art and we just ran with it and just, what does that mean? I mean that what was it? That GIF of the later on we had the GIF of the the Panther Clipper.
Yes.
And of course, oh wow, Panther Clipper.
You mean you haven't tried the Panther Clipper yet? It's an amazing ship.
Yeah.
To be honest, I think there's more chance of the Panther Clipper appearing in Star Citizen before.
Let's petition them.
Well, they've got the asp in there, haven't they?
Well, and I may as well say it now, because before you move on to somebody more interesting. But looking back, with rose-tinted glasses, I don't want to talk too much about the history, all the Kickstarter and all that. But
no, feel free to talk about that.
No,
because it's all part of the fabric of what caused this thing.
We did it to death in this podcast that we started up. Anyway, they looking back, I mean, there was bits of drama and stuff, but compared to, and I mentioned Star Citizen, looking back, it's like the best, smoothest game ever released. Do you know what I mean? Star Citizen, NFTs before NFTs were a thing.
True.
Do you know what I mean? Like, we didn't have any of that. We just had this old concept of you paid some money and you got a game, which is quite radical now, I guess. So looking back,
even then though, John,
was amazing.
Even then though, John, we were kind of taken to task. If you recall, we had an interview with another podcast who told us that that this whole Kickstarter thing and paying for for in-game stuff was also bad.
Can I ask a question of the old guard, and perhaps this is one for Mr. Stroud to answer? Can we speculate or be told the answer? What is on Lave 2 that is so important? It's permit locked.
A sequel. And I've said it. I've said it many times. Essentially, I asked for a permit lock because I wanted the opportunity to write another book that would have a chance to tie into the existing game. I'm still sat here. Occasionally I get a chance to to add something to my. I mean, to be fair, the list of things I've got to write at the moment is quite extensive. So it's more a case of fitting things into my schedule. But I mean, that was the whole idea. That was why I requested the permit lock so that I could do 3 books.
Yeah.
This is Alan George R. Martining us, really, isn't it? I'll get round to it one day. It'll be
the
amazing,
winds of Lave. The winds of Lave.
I wrote the first 2 chapters of Lave Republic. I read the first chapter of Lave Republic at LaveCon 2015, just for people to listen to, and I'm still here.
I think a lot of people are there going, we'd like something more in the way of fiction, but I think we all know how that's gone. So, Fozzer, your turn.
Ooh, community events.
Community events, yes.
Okay, well, there's a few. So, the one that really sticks out is the launch event, which I'm quite surprised nobody else has mentioned. So, launch event, and I probably mentioned this on one of the older podcasts, but I got a really good position. So I was standing right next to the rail, and we're at the is it Duxford Museum of Flight, or basically plane museum. So all sorts of old planes all over the place, hanging from the ceilings and stuff. And there's a big sort of aircraft hangar door. And we're all standing there, all the people that were lucky enough to get sort of launch event tickets. And there's a rail, and on the other side of the rail is my absolute hero, David Braben, in his wonderful Bono glasses that he sports from time to time. And interestingly enough, as an aside, the guy next to me was I've forgotten his name. Who used to do the news events for the BBC?
Rory Kethlen-Jones.
Rory Kethlen-Jones, yes. So he was there with his son. His son did not look impressed at all, but Rory looked quite pleased to be there. He was an Elite fan from back in the day. But yeah, so obviously then you had the klaxons go off, the sirens go off, the big sort of dry ice goes, and these hangar doors sort of slowly move apart and reveal a scale model of the Cobra Mark III. And at that point, it was all finally becoming a reality. And that night was great because we got the opportunity to do some live interviews with some of the devs that we'd seen at, I think we'd had LaveCon. Yeah, we'd had the LaveCon in the hotel. There's nothing else before then. And it was just a really nice opportunity to do some interviews with some of the guys that we'd spent a bit of time with. So that's probably one. But the other one that was really sort of out of left field was the Movember event we did way back, and God knows when, where the community grew mustaches for Movember, and it was just bizarre because all these people that played the computer game came together, grew mustaches, and did collaborative sort of singing song things to raise money. And yeah, it was just sort of like the first sort of insight as to how this community could come together for charity work and good deeds. And in fairness to things like special effects, they've been doing it ever since.
Excellent. Yeah, I mean, I do have this vague recollection of us all singing a song to David Braben while wearing, I don't know, Elite Dangerous style moustaches that someone had cut out. Was that just a bad dream?
I think we were leaving on a space plane. What was it, Jefferson Airplane leaving on a... Anyway, so leaving on a space plane. Very badly did we try and sing that song, all of us.
I think we need an encore of that at this week.
I don't think that needs ever be... No.
I think we need an encore.
No,
I'm not sure what everyone else thinks, but
I don't know. If we could get 300 people to do it.
Maybe instead of Lave... Well, instead of LaveCon skins, maybe they can have a LaveCon mustache you can stick on.
Hey, actually, yes. Now we've got walking around in space stations and stuff. We should have that. We should have the handlebar mustache from the Movember event. Totally.
Yep, there we go. That's a suggestion we can put in for a new cosmetic item.
It'd be even funnier if it was painted on your helmet, wouldn't it?
Well, Alan's just dropped in chat that it should be like ZZ Top. Now, the question for that is obviously what happens to a ZZ Top style beard in zero gravity? We're talking about we're flying around in spapeships.
Velcro again.
Velcro. There you go. Velcro solves all problems.
Frankly, right now, because I'm writing hard science fiction at the moment, that is exactly the kind of question I have to answer at the moment. What do beards do?
Well, there was a reason. There was a reason why Frontier gave for why there's no long hair on your character. It was because of the whole space suit Remlock thing, if I remember rightly.
Yeah, you could.
But if you can keep a kilt down, you can keep a beard down.
Oh, don't start with space kilts.
What is the underneath the space kilt though? That's the thing. If it's just
because kilts in space are canon, aren't they? Yeah, exactly.
Hey, if kilts in space was approved by Frontier, what can we do? Oh dear, yeah, that's cool. That would cause blindness, wouldn't it? Anyway, word of warning, Psycho Cow has actually posted the link to that video with us all singing badly already in the chat. So
show notes, please. Put it in the show notes for the people who aren't on Twitch chat.
Yeah, okay. That's passed on. Right. On to Alan then. It has to be Alan next.
Does it? Okay.
Go on.
Favorite community moment. God. I mean, I can only echo what's been said. I would say as well, Dave Lowe and the Frontier theme. When we got the opportunity at LaveCon to play that to the audience exclusively, because we had to and we had to mute the stream, and there were people on the stream when we muted the stream who were kind of not very happy And of course, as John's always said, it's amazing how much people can complain about getting free stuff. But yeah, I mean, the fact that we had the opportunity to preview the Frontier theme that was recorded at Abbey Road, and I mean, the fact I got to go down there, I mean, that was pretty amazing as well. Yeah, I mean, Foz has said it about the launch. I mean, the launch was an amazing night. It was just an absolutely amazing night, and one that you kind of pinch yourself that you were there. But yeah, that Frontier theme. I mean, I was in tears when we did that. And we had the opportunity to do that. I mean, that was incredible. And there's so many others, so many things that people did, that people have done, so many generous moments. And I think that's probably the lasting thing that, in general, as a theme, that I'd like to remember. Any community that I've been involved in, is the moments of generosity. When you see people rally round someone or pick somebody up, or even it's a crunch night in the offices, so let's order them all pizza. Those kind of. I mean, we knew it was slightly silly, but goodness, it was funny. And sometimes that sort of connection between the community and the company, and between individuals, that that's been incredibly precious. And we've had Frontier people privately talking to us and saying just how much they love having a beer, and just interacting with people at the bar at LaveCon, because they felt so welcomed. Which is lovely. So yeah, I've rambled a bit, but yeah, I'll go with Dave Lowe's launch. I think it was amazing.
Excellent. Okay then, Dr. Toxic, how about you? What's been your favourite community experience in Elite Dangerous?
I'm going to be selfish with this one, if I'm honest with you, and I'm going to say it's being accepted enough to get onto Lave Radio as a co-host. Thank you guys for allowing me to come and take part in the time that I was here, and I do plan to make a return as a slightly more permanent fixture, work abiding. And secondly, it's being accepted enough to actually help you guys run LaveCon, and actually coming out to an event that it revolves around a video game. We're all going, all of these people from, it's not only around England, but around the world, that all have this one interest. They're all there to play this one video game, and to meet people that all play this video game. And obviously there's conversations and stuff about other things that go on while we're at LaveCon, but meeting all of these people, and especially meeting the Lave Radio team, giving Grant a hug, a great big hug. The man's a teddy bear. He's a Scotsman, but he's a bloody teddy bear.
There you go, Grant. You're appreciated.
Socially distanced hugs now.
And you, Colin, the ability to come and shake your hand and come and enjoy a drink, and Ben, all of you just meeting up, and the rest of the community as well. It's been awesome.
Are you glad or are you sad that you didn't get a hug though, Colin? That's the thing.
I'm not really a hugger, so I'm absolutely fine with that.
You'll live with that, are you?
Yeah, I'm fine. This doesn't mean everybody can pile on at LaveCon next time.
That's exactly.
You just wait until Friday, Colin. I'm coming for you.
I am falling through the station. I just got to the bar in the station, and I am literally falling through it.
Oh. Are you saying that you got hit by a bug there, Bess?
I keep oh, wow. Okay.
Oh, Mr. Jarvis.
Hello, I'm here.
Hello, it's so nice to hear you. what has been your favourite community experience with Elite?
Do you know, it's funny. I was sitting here thinking about it, and I really had something that I thought was genuinely quite important to me, and I thought, oh, no one's going to say that, so I'm not going to have my thunder stolen. And then Ashley pretty much said what I was going to say. But I think the thing for me, no, it's all good. It's a slightly different take on it. But I mean, there've been a lot of amazing community events. I think for me, the thing that has been really surprising about it, and for me is the kind of legacy of being involved with it, if you like, is friendships. Genuine friendships. You kind of you never know in life when you're going to meet people that you kind of make a connection with that is bigger than the thing you're doing. And I think without wanting to speak for some of the other people on this call. There are people on this. There are people involved in the show and involved in this community that I consider to be genuine friends. And I think that's the sting of missing stuff like LaveCon and Elite Community Meet and whatever else we haven't been able to do over the last couple of years. Is that it's been losing that opportunity to really kind of meet up with friends in person. I'll give you an example. Like at the weekend, Joe bumped into E&M Norman.
Oh, right.
Right. Do you know what the funny thing was? So I went to a board game event on Saturday, and it was down in Letchworth. It was down in Letchworth. It's nowhere near where I live or anything. And I was meeting up with an old friend. Anyway, I was sitting at a table with this friend of mine. I mean, this old friend is someone from my hometown. I've known him since I was like 8. So we got together and we were sitting around a table with a bunch of people that he knew. And there was this guy at the table, and I just thought, I know his face and I know his voice, and I just couldn't think where I knew him from. And we even said this to each other. We said, I'm sure I know you from somewhere, but I don't know where. And anyway, so I'd been off to the loo or something, and I came back, and they said, oh, we've worked out where you know each other from. And he just held up his phone, and it was this sort of cartoon picture of like a pirate face, and I went, "Oh, Ian," because I know you by your forum avatar kind of thing. But I think it's that, and I mean, I make no secret of the fact that I probably haven't played Elite in 5 years. Don't know. It's hard to keep track.
Jeez.
But I mean, I don't. It's not. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if we're coming on to actually talking about the game stuff. But I think over the years, I've come to realise that Elite Dangerous is not. It's not my game. I'm not the target market for what Elite Dangerous does. So I don't play it. I still love the community. I still love the Elite lore, and I love Elite as a thing. I just don't play it. But the people that I've met doing it have become such a fundamental part of my life over the years that that's you can't replace that. I mean, that for me, that's the best thing to have come out of the community. It's another Jarvis monologue.
Yeah, we've got someone. We've got Corey Collins in the chat saying, "I've just been listening to Lave Radio Legacy episodes. I'm still on Lave Radio number 15. God, he's got a long way to go. Where the game is still almost a year from release, and I happen to tap in here and hear Chris Jarvis."
What can I say? I mean, it's funny, we talk about. Like I said, I don't know if we're going to come onto it, but it's funny when we were talking about like the speculation episodes. There is a huge part of me. It sounds a bit hipsterish to say, but there's a huge part of me that liked Elite much better before it was a game.
Yeah, we always seem to prefer the game that we were building in our heads.
Yeah, absolutely.
I just love this fact that you love the Elite community and you want to be part of it, but you don't play the game anymore. It's like Fight Club. You're just joining up with various communities to try and get some kind of, I don't know, satisfaction from connections with other people. Have you just considered signing up to AA?
Yeah.
And that you have an alcohol problem.
just to have that's a bit sad. Joining the AA just to have friends.
Yeah, I only like it because I need to be loved. Yeah.
No, I mean, there's lots of things about the kind of whole Elite world that I do still really love. If someone taps me up and says, do you want to come and play like an elite tabletop RPG? Absolutely, I'll be there. It's just, it's just one of those things. For me, it's been a thing that's so much. I mean, people say, "Oh, isn't it great to, organise an event that's all based around a game?" For me, it's been so much bigger than the game. It's been such a meeting point for people who, I guess, in a sense, came from the same place as me. I mean, I'm not going to pretend that I've got loads in common with young gamers, but there are gamers of a certain age who, Elite or Elite 2 meant a lot to them, and this has been a kind of focal point for bringing together those people that I wouldn't have otherwise get to meet. So yeah, that's it for me.
Excellent. Alan, you want to jump in there?
Yeah, just a small thing, really. I mean, just if we go by tonight's episode and we go by what you guys were saying at the beginning, with there being no development news and being, a little bit, I'm getting the irritation vibe, and I understand that, and I can kind of see what you're, why you're thinking that, in terms of when the last communications and things were. I guess in this moment where we have come out of a global pandemic, and we're not all out of it, I mean, you guys know, and I've said this earlier this week, I've currently got COVID. So I'm sitting here, doing LFTs every night and trying to get back to actually doing the day job, because I can't, I can't go in and teach my students at the moment because I'm infectious. But the thing that we're kind of looking at when we're trying to come out of what has happened to everything and everywhere is if this computer game is a thing that binds together a community, then you're actually looking for a little bit of leadership to help that community come back. And that's not to, it's not to say anybody owes anybody anything or anything else. I'm not saying that, anyone's obligated, because I'm sure every Frontier employee has had their own difficulties over this hard time. I'm sure the company's had their difficulties over this hard time. I mean, everyone has suffered in different ways to kind of manage these things. But we are kind of, there is a need, and I think this is not an onus on Frontier in and of itself. I think it's the same for most things, for most hobbies, most pastimes, most things that bind people together in terms of, them all sharing an activity. There is a need for there to be something that kind of says, yeah, come back. Let's go find those special moments again. How can we make those connections happen again? And it's not easy, and I don't think it will be easy for anybody to do that. And I don't think it will be, it won't be instantaneous. It won't be the right moment, now. I mean, if I recall, when we started going into the pandemic, actually Frontier did fairly well. They were still managing to keep up, quite a lot of content and stuff moving forward during that period. And, coming out, they're possibly slower, and that's possibly a reaction to, to what happened, what was going on at the beginning. So, yeah, I think that it's worth just thinking about that, and maybe thinking, I would hope that people who are perhaps going to be involved going forwards, and obviously we've got to try and run LaveCon this year, which we're planning to do. People who are involved going forwards are thinking about the fact that, this is about trying to find a way to bring everyone back together, because I think that's a priority.
I think you're right. The main issue and the main frustration is that the communication and the run up towards Christmas this year was actually really, really good. And I felt a lot of people thought that, I mean, if the game hasn't been fixed to the best it can yet, at least the communication has. And since the beginning of the new year, the fact that the communication has just gone silent has just let a lot of speculation run rampant. I think everybody's now beginning to feel a little bit kind of well, we don't know what's happening.
Yeah, I read Arf's statement, and I also watched Obsidian Ant the other day, and an Obsidian Ant basically making a coherent point, and I'm not accusing him of not being coherent, but he made a very intelligent point where he was saying, sometimes things work well if they're this way, i.e. everything's communicated, everything's up front, everything's very, talking to the player base all the time, blah blah blah, or the company says nothing but lets its content come out. And he cited 2 examples of companies that work that way, and then made the comparison to Frontier, because Frontier are kind of falling in the middle.
Yeah.
And having read Arf's statement, I don't know, because I didn't listen to your episode when you covered this, so apologies if I'm saying something that you covered. But when I read one of those sentences in there, I read that sounded to me like it was about somebody trying to fight a corner for a particular way in which information is communicated, and attempting to deal with people who didn't want it to be working that way. And there was one sentence in there that made me think that actually this is not clear, in terms of that everybody is on the same page. It looked like there was possibly someone who wasn't on the same page, and that particular post, I read into it and went, yeah, you're suffering with somebody who's basically saying, oh, I'm not happy with that, and there's someone in your way at the moment, which is what's delaying this. And that was my thought. I thought, actually there's an internal issue, and it's not, it might not be as clear cut as there being an internal issue with, a hero and a villain in that regard. That's not quite what I mean. It could be as much as we're not ready because these people aren't back, or we're not ready because this hasn't been sorted yet, and we need this to be sorted before we're ready to move this agenda forward. There are a variety of ways in which that could, be legitimately delayed, as it were, in terms of getting back on top of what's there. So yeah, I guess I'm trying to be an apologist here. That actually wasn't my intention at all. But I do think that these things can be complicated.
Okay. Shan.
Yeah, it's interesting listening to that, and it does indeed make you think. I mean, one thing I would point out, and it's completely obvious, but both the game and the community are in a different place, development-wise and indeed community-wise, than it was right at the start, as it was to now. And I think the game we wanted to play 8-9 years ago is very different to what we've got, and the way the community team at Frontier work is very different now than what it was even 4 or 5 years ago. So I think we almost need to reset our expectations, because back then Frontier was very much like the indie developer. It was, everyone knew the CM by name and they knew us and Now it's become much more of a corporate environment. So I think perhaps we need to reset our expectations to match that corporate environment.
Yeah. I mean, we've been over that one quite a lot. So it's, I guess development moves on.
I mean, I'm very much out of all of these conversations, but I mean, one of the things that marked a big difference between the Frontier community that we started with and what you've got now is, of course, Frontier got listed as a publicly traded entity, and that's going to change stuff. You can't just open up the doors. Once you're a publicly traded company.
And we've had discussions. Since since those initial years. I've gone back and spoken to different people and said, well, what would it cost to do X? What does Frontier want to license this? What does Frontier want to license that? And they do very much see their intellectual property, i.e. their brand, as being very, very valuable. And whether the shares are at this level or at that level, you can't see the brand as being the same value as it was when we were kind of doing stuff back in 2014. It's not. They very much see their brand as being very, very valuable, and it's difficult to have those conversations when you want to bring value to the table, or you want to bring creativity to the table, and essentially what they're saying is you can't afford it. Because you're kind of looking at it and going, well, I used to be able to afford it, but you can't now. It's not like it's an ice cream and inflation is just taking it from from a pound to to £3. No, it's the brand value has skyrocketed, and that's where they see themselves.
Right. Well, we're just going to quickly move on from this conversation, because we've still got other people to ask this one question to, which it looks like this one question will do us for the whole of this section, to be honest. Psychit, I'd like to know what your favourite community experience has been so far.
Oh God! Oh my God! I really only started getting to know you guys. The ECM, the first ECM that was cancelled due to COVID, that was the first elite community thing I was ever going to go to. So, I don't. There's been so many really, really good things that have happened. I mean, I first got to know Cal through the Truckers Up Tidy event. That's how I first got to know Cal, and then started to learn more about the wider Elite Dangerous community. Rather than just being sort of very much secluded in a little player faction that I was in, and I feel a lot better for getting to know a lot more people. I don't know of a particular one thing that has been huge and standalone. I've really enjoyed all of the virtual Lave cons, the virtual ECM, all of that kind of stuff, and being able to raise a bucket of money for fantastic charities is always going to be right up there. I think Friday might end up be Friday coming. If you were to ask me next week, I might be you know what, last Friday was bloody brilliant, but
yes,
it's really tricky to sort of pinpoint one thing, other than being really, really selfish and sort of saying, I don't think had it not been had it not been for Elite Dangerous, had it not been for COVID, I don't think that I would have made Twitch partner, because of the time that I stream is during the day and people were working from home, and UK people, let's face it, most of the people who play Elite, a lot of the people who play Elite are UK based, and people were just coming across my stream because they were at home, and that's a really cool thing. And I must admit, finding out that I got partner was really cool. That was a really good experience that sort of felt like it was on the back of Elite, but just the last few, there's a pre-leaving PA time and then the post-leaving PA time, and they're two very, very separate Elite Dangerous experiences for me. And one is being very closed in, not really being super aware of a wider community, and then the bit post PA is knowing the wider community and getting to know a lot more commanders and finding out a lot more about people, and that's a really, really good thing. And I've made some proper friends through this game. Not least to say, I'd never have met my very, very good friend Mal. I would never have met Mal, and Flight Assist is one of my favourite things to do. I absolutely bloody adore it, and just being able to share, Cal said just before we started how joyous my episode where I got to chat to my sister about Elite it's just wild to me that I can sit and have these conversations with so many different people and share this joy about a game that like is still being talked about and enjoyed by a whole group of people 9 years on. Do you know what I mean?
Completely. It's always bizarre that I always got told when Lave Radio was starting, and when Lave Radio was me and Ben started joining Lave Radio, that don't expect it to last too long, because it's a podcast about one single game. You're going to run out of things to say, and yet here we are 9 years later.
Yeah, and I mean, like, I love doing Lave. I love you guys. You guys are great. Just like, let me just add that as an addendum. But doing Flight Assist, like, we ask the same questions every single episode, and we're on what, like, we had Charlie Hall from Polygon Magazine as our 50th episode, and I am absolutely name dropping with that. But to have had have like what you might assume is going to be the same conversation every time, and have it so wildly different, and hear like these individual people's experiences, has been an absolute joy. That's my favorite thing about Elite, is being able to come together through, like, as other people have said, come together through a video game. Maybe you don't play the video game anymore, but you're still a member of the community. Elite doesn't leave you, and I really like that. It's nice to be able to talk to all of you.
Excellent. Right, we're going to move on to Shan now.
My favourite personal Elite moment. That's quite a hard one because there's been so many. I'm going to give it a tie, if I'm allowed. The one that springs to mind was when I got my Combat Elite about 2 months after the game was launched, and I was up for 32 hours straight. And a really good friend of mine, who really sadly was killed in a motorbike accident some years later, stayed up with me on Vent. It was on Ventrilo, and we were just talking all the 32 hours. I was going through kill after kill after kill after kill, and it was just that having time to spend with him while I was playing Elite, and that was really special for me personally, and it's extra special now because obviously he's passed. The other moment was I got Ed Lewis out of the abyss. He was lost in the abyss in his journey back from distant worlds, and I was having to navigate him across the abyss pre-engineering, just simply using the angles and trigonometry on the screen, because I couldn't go there and there was no way you could work a route out back then. So that was I enjoyed that. Community wise, oh gosh, the time I think I've laughed the most in any computer game, or probably indeed ever, was at the LaveCon with Ed Nolmans and Mr. Blobby.
I must say, yes, that was a unique moment.
That was just pure joy. That was, and I regard that as special. And incidentally, do you remember we had my son on a couple of weeks ago?
Yes, because I remember meeting when he was a lot smaller.
Yeah. I think he's just had his best Elite moment, and we talk about community because he messaged me on Facebook and say basically, "Help, Dad! I'm out of fuel. I'm really annoyed. I got 4 Scruple stars in a row." So of course I sent him to Fuel Rats, and the fact there are real people rescuing people for free for fuel has blown his mind. He'd say that's insane. So I think that's a really good meeting to end on, how the community that we do cherish and we do regard is still active, and people like Fuel Rats are still there doing their thing, and I think that's amazing.
Excellent. So that just leaves Ben.
I think favorite community thing would probably be so many. I'm gonna go with actually that night before the launch party, where we were all just meeting up in the pub and meeting everybody for that very, very, very first time. Either that or, of course, the very first LaveCon, where nobody had ever met anybody in real life ever. We're a bunch of random people off the internet. I speak to some random person off the internet.
I was going to say, Ben, I don't know what you're talking about. We all the four of us arranged to get together for a meal, and you all showed up. It was so weird.
Yeah, and then Cushions got involved. Yeah. Yeah, I spoke to some random person off the internet. I gave him my house address. He came and picked me up. And his wife. He didn't pick his wife up. She was already in the car. Yeah, him and his wife came and picked me up. And they didn't murder me on the way down to Northampton. Not North. It wasn't. It was Chester. Oh, not Chester. Oh, was it? It wasn't Northampton. It was
Chipperfield. It was right down in Wiltshire.
Cheltenham the first time.
Cheltenham.
Yeah,
That's
Cheltenham.
it.
Cheltenham. Sorry.
Yeah. Cheltenham. Yeah. So that is. Yeah, I think that's. That very first chance to meet everybody was just phenomenal. And then all the things that came out of that, the getting started with Retro Lave, and then obviously being involved with the main show and all the opportunities that's involved has been redonkulously good. And I'm honoured and humbled and all that crap.
I think it is.
That's a fairly backhanded compliment to the early Elite Dangerous community. Well, they didn't murder me, so.
I know. I feel as responsible broadcasters, we should be saying, please don't arrange to meet people that you've met on the internet. But that's not been any of our experience. All of our experience has been that meeting people off the internet has been great.
I mean. We are looking at it slightly nostalgically, and there have been good experiences and bad experiences, and I think that we need to caveat that a little bit. But I will say that just to pick up on Psychit's point, another thing that is worth reflecting on in this moment where people are concerned maybe about the fact that that there isn't content or there aren't things being communicated at this stage is. When we look back, Elite transformed my life, massively transformed my life. The opportunities that I got out of, I have a PhD because of Elite. I have, I am the chair of the British Science Fiction Association, which is a national organisation that runs a national science fiction award every year. I'm currently in the middle of doing the shortlist for which we're going to release, and I put on hold tonight so that I could be on with you guys. We're going to release that this week as to who are going to be the best novels of last year. It's huge. The stuff that I get to do because of the stuff that we did, is incredible, and I'm so grateful for that. So utterly grateful for that. You're always going to sit and kind of go, well, I'd have done it differently. There are things that you'd sit and say, yeah, if I could have the time again, maybe this, maybe that. But goodness, what a ride.
Excellent. At the moment, it does seem that I'm getting a little bit of trouble joining everybody back in the bar at the moment due to instancing issues. We're actually breaking the instancing.
How many people have we got in the instance, by the way?
It looks to be about 12, 13, I think. So that's actually really good going.
Oh, no, if you wanted to get me feeling nostalgic, you guys are still having problems with instancing?
Believe it or not, yes. Yeah.
I'm kind of sad there's nobody sat outside the station with me.
Yeah, so I'm having a bit of fun right now at the moment. So yes, So we've been through everybody's favorite community experience, and I think we're going to run out of time before we'd talk about something else. But just quickly for the old guard. I mean, obviously, you guys haven't been playing Elite for quite a while.
I have.
Well, oh yeah, you have, John. I mean, how have you been finding the latest updates?
Well, to be honest, when I say I've been playing in my own kind of way.
Mhm.
I don't walk around stations. I'll tell you that much now, because I still want to be flying my ship and blowing stuff up. But I always dip back in every so often just to see, what's changed, and you know, I like bounty hunting, and I was very pleased to see that last time I went bounty hunting, it was only a couple of weeks ago. The rewards for that have shot up. So it's much more viable as a way of making money. If you're just happy to sit there in an extraction site and blowing up anacondas, you can make an absolute fortune. So I enjoyed doing that. The running around stations thing, this kind of harks back to what we were talking about, how, we had this original concept of the game, and, did we get what we wanted and all that kind of stuff. And I think in the beginning, I thought it would be cool to be able to walk around space stations. And, sometimes, you think you know what you want, and, maybe I was wrong about that. I'm still waiting to hunt dinosaurs like David Braben promised. But,
You'll never be able to do that in Elite.
Why not? David Braben said we're going to be big game hunters. We're going to be chasing
We're going to be hunting hippos for their eyelashes.
hunting,
I think.
hunting a T-Rex through the forest. He promised it.
Well,
in
see,
Kickstarter.
no,
I want a refund.
I think you've mistaken what he meant when he said hunting dinosaurs. What he meant was digging up archaeological finds on non-atmosphere planets, which you can do. So that's there. You can get it. You can get bio waste. That's kind of like hunting
Did he
dinosaurs.
specify,
so
did he
easy to
specify the
confuse.
game for
Yeah,
hunting
it's so
dinosaurs?
easy to confuse those two things, isn't it? Hunting big game and digging up shit. That's it's an easy mistake to make.
Big jobby hunting. Yeah.
Oh no! Don't mention jobbies.
Yeah, somebody say jobby.
You missed last week a couple of weeks ago, where Psychic. Oh, Psychic! I can't even say it without cracking up.
What was it called? Like jobby spread or something? My husband will remember. Some kind of peanut butter.
Something like jobby shot or something like that.
Something like that.
Sorry, what was your question going to be, Colin? What's you were going to say? You haven't played for ages, but
well, the main question is, what would it take to entice you back in? So that would be to Alan. I think Commander Thane has said that there's nothing really that could do it. But Alan and Fozza, I mean, is there anything that could entice you back in?
I mean, Foz, do you want to go?
Yeah, I was just. Chris was saying he wasn't sure. Is that you might come back? What would tempt you back?
No. I'm not saying there's nothing that would make me come back. I just think I think what I've done is I've over time I've acknowledged that it's designed at a kind of gameplay, and the kind of content they want to put in is I don't think it's aimed towards me. I mean, I said, if you listen, I was going to say if you listen back to the old episodes, don't feel free. You have to listen to the old episodes just because I say so. The thing that I always wanted kind of story content, and I don't mean like a big narrative, but I just mean like little threads that you could pick at yourself that would lead you down kind of like different rabbit holes. And I think that, for me, it's always been that difficulty between what you can achieve in a single player game versus what you can achieve in a massively multiplayer game. So, in a massively multiplayer game, you'll have a story event where the entire player base needs to deliver like 6 million tons of whiskey to this one guy living on a rock, because that's what works for your multiplayer meta. Whereas what I want is kind of like, you meet an NPC and he says, oh, I've got a couple of options for you. You can either do the smuggling job for me, you can go and do this thing. And really just to kind of really feel that, like, I don't think that's the thing. It's about whether you're the centre of the story or not. And I think Elite Dangerous doesn't necessarily offer you an opportunity where you're the centre of the story. And it's just not the way I consume games. But I think if the kind of, if you like, the single player content of Elite Dangerous was to really ramp up, in the context of it also still being multiplayer, then that would entice me back. I think I just found that there wasn't, because I'm not into games that have a big sort of meta or a big PvP scene, or is all about kind of like achieving certain types of ship builds, gaining materials and putting all those kind of hours in. That's just not how I play games. So I think it would, I think I stopped playing Elite at the point where I realised that the content that I was waiting for was not really in the plan. It wasn't the game that they were trying to make, and that that's absolutely fair enough. And that's why I'd always engage with the game world more in a way like like a tabletop RPG, or if somebody ever managed to make a board game happen, or the fiction, or any of those kind of things, because it's the world and the story and the character content that really draws me into a game, not necessarily feeling like I've achieved something by kitting out the perfect fighter craft or the perfect exploration craft, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, Ben, you've got something to respond there, haven't you?
In that case, if that's what you're responding to, Jarvis, I have a feeling you might actually really like the on-foot missions that you can get by walking around the bar. Because you're walking up to a bar and they're asking you to do basically the same kind of jobs. Then you can get into the whole negotiation with them and say, give me a bit more money, mate. And then they'll send you off somewhere, and you might have to go off and meet somebody at another place. And there is a lot more of that personal NPC interaction. Although all you're really doing is obviously it's the same missions, and it's go and get me a widget, but it is more personal. But I don't know.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah,
I don't know if
that's
that
cool.
would work for you, as it were.
Yeah, I don't know really. Yeah, it definitely sounds interesting.
Fozza,
I like space games.
Fozza, do you want to have a go at that? What would entice you back?
I'll tell you what doesn't entice me very much, and that's the idea of having to change all my keybinds all over again. I take it they haven't improved that in terms of it being an ordeal.
They have, in a little way. They've actually broken the keybinds down into certain areas of functionality. So it doesn't feel like you're having to do page after page after page after page. Much better, yeah, as Commander Ventura says, it's got a much better layout at the moment. So if you're just flying around in your ship, you've just got your ship section to worry about. But yeah, keybinds, it's keybinds. God, I wish we could all just everything would just map automatically, but it doesn't seem to.
Yeah, Alan's just posted in the chat. It's like, oh god, keybinds, that was a whole night, and it is, and that's what's sort of keeping me away. The thought that I'd like to get back into Elite Dangerous, but there's no way of actually just getting back into it. There's that thing where you have to put aside a good chunk of hours to just make sure you can actually get all of your hot ass and everything up and running again. Shan, what do you want to say?
Well, I'll ask you about keybinds. A few shows ago, we talked about quit points in an MMO. What are the things that makes you think, I'll stuff this, I can't be bothered? And one of the things we talked about was keybinds and how onerous it was to set it all up and get it right, and how important it is to back them up before there's a major release. So from what you've just said, would you say the keybinds was one of your oh for goodness sake moments?
Well, maybe leave in the first place. I don't know. I was kind of flagging in the same way that that Jarvis was, in terms of I was kind of wanting a bit more single player storylines, and I feel almost bad by saying the whole thing about it being wide but shallow, which was the thing that everybody threw at Elite Dangerous for such a long time. And the thing that made it not shallow was the interaction with your friends and doing stuff as part of the community. And just the stuff that I've seen online in terms of the walking around in stations things. Ben mentioned it as go here, do that widget thing. I was never really into the whole SRV things. Drive up to this thing, plug into this widget, take that thing down. That it was lacking. It was lacking a bit of a narrative, and I don't see the walking around in stations as having that extra narrative. Maybe I'm wrong. I've just seen it from a distance, and I was waiting for something to sort of draw me back in.
So I can just sort of, you got me interested now. So sorry, listeners. So have you been following at all the narratives that have been going on recently, like the Emperor being kidnapped for a year and the whole thing? Have you been following that
No, I
at all?
haven't been following any of the in-game lore, such as it's been. That was always hit and miss in the past.
Because the way it's certainly been appeared and is it's almost like you're watching things unfold rather than having any effect on having them unfold. Like something big like the Emperor being kidnapped for a year was completely resolved to the player off screen. And I just wondered how you sort of felt about that.
Yeah, I mean that was always the problem with it, wasn't it? There was so much of the game that happened either through kind of like, I guess forum posts or in newsletters. I mean, it's funny because the stark contrast is I recently, one of the things I did recently was I completely played Mass Effect through from the beginning. Because for the first time, it's funny because I played Mass Effects 1, 2, and 3. I played them all on different machines originally. So I even though I built the same Commander Shepard, I didn't have that throughput. And I really wanted to see what happened if you took the same save file from game 1 all the way through to game 3. And I have to say, it was an incredible dramatic experience. I mean, I absolutely loved it. There was some stuff that didn't work. There was some stuff where I feel like they threw in a character that you met in like game 1 in like a bar somewhere just so that you could talk to them and have that validation that the game remembered a choice you made in the first game. But I do think that everything that happened in that game world was fed back to you in a really involving way. Like you get into one of the lifts, and while you were traveling between floors, you would hear a news article that directly related to something that you either did or something that you saw or something that you spoke to somebody about. And I think that's the thing that's always bothered me about Elite. And it's not just Elite. There are lots of games that do this, but if too much of the game is happening outside of actually playing the game, it's incredibly distancing. I mean, I always felt when I got in, I always really enjoyed playing it, like flying the ship around and doing the shooting and landing and all that sort of thing. As a flight simulator, I always really enjoyed it. But the Elite that I read about in Galnet updates or saw people talking about on forum posts, that was never the world that actually ever emerged to me when I got in the ship and started flying around.
Okay. Alan?
Yeah, it's, I mean, there's a few things here that you could kind of unpack. One is the sort of the closing point that Chris is making, which is moving wallpaper, which is there are a variety of different games, and not just computer games, that have gone through iterations whereby they are a performance that's going on around you and you can't really affect it. And there are times when that happens, and actually I've seen companies go through that process and then realize that they need to have player affected content, and they need to to find ways to allow individuals to affect things, but also allow them to not affect things too much so that it doesn't affect every other player in terms of what they do. And I think the other point I would make on just specifically coming in on this of it not offering the narrative, and I hate to sound like a wizard, and I'm not trying to sound like a wizard. I'm not trying to sound like that there is some sort of sage answer here, but it honestly does come down to the framework of how you design and how you create. There is not a. I don't believe that you can have either. Yeah, it has to be either or. I don't believe that you can solely have this kind of story experience by by doing it one way, or you have this kind of slightly impersonal experience by doing it another. I think there are ways in which you can move in the middle, and I genuinely think there are a variety of ways in which games have not picked that up. Some games have, in different ways, but I don't think we've yet seen it in computer narrative design. I don't think we've yet seen the utter alternative narrative experience that requires a kind of creativity that is really thinking differently about how MMOs work. And frankly, MMOs are a tiny evolution. They've only been around for a short period of time, so it's not necessarily that that there's been enough time to understand that kind of design experience at this stage. So yeah.
Yeah, the closest I've ever found to a narrative experience in an MMO where I've genuinely felt involved and in a sandbox experience has been on the Matrix Online, and that worked because they actually had real people running events and running missions at the same time, like live dungeon masters.
Yeah, Vampire Redemption did something similar. They tried to do that many years before. A variety of those. I just you asked the question about tempting back, and I wanted to, because I know you want to move on, so I just wanted to quickly say, I think for me, selfishly, my gameplay these days revolves around when there is something in it that I can feel when I go to bed. I feel like I've done something that kind of makes me feel like I've achieved something in the day. So at the moment, I'm painting miniatures. I've achieved something in the day, or I've put shelves up. I've achieved something in the day, or I've built the summer house. I've achieved something in the day. Something. I've written a chapter in a book. If I feel like I can achieve something in the day, then I and actually computer games, they do sometimes. If I can get really into it, then I feel like I've achieved something. I mean, it was easy with Elite earlier on because, when I was writing and I was doing Lave Revolution, then obviously it was easy because I've achieved something. It's research. Or when I was working on Phoenix Point, I've achieved something. It's harder when it's not.
Fair enough. Right, Fozzer.
Yeah, I was just going to say that actually, the whole comment about the narrative and everything, I think it's just an interesting way of how we've changed, because there is an 11-year-old inside me screaming at me that I've turned into a complete knob, and that when he used to play Frontier, he would be thrilled when he used to have a spy mission where he'd go and sit above the planet and take a picture with a camera, and then, or when he'd take one of those missions where you had to take a passenger from point A to point B, but there might be something that goes on in between, and all you got in terms of something from the game was, I found you, or you will regret this, blah blah blah. But it was the fact that you then went and made it into your own story. And actually, Elite Dangerous is far more elaborate than what we used to have. But I think the expectations, or the fact that we've maybe grown to expect more from the games, means that that now seems shallow, and you want this bigger narrative. You want sort of like a Horizon Zero Dawn narrative in an MMO, which as I say, it's not really where we're at. But as I say, there is an 11-year-old inside me who did a lot more with a lot less than what Frontier have given us, and I think maybe. Yeah, I think to a certain extent, a bit more grateful for what we've actually got, or do more with what we've got.
I do absolutely take your point, but I think that that emergent narrative you're talking about, for some reason, I don't feel that Elite Dangerous necessarily feeds that back to you in a very helpful way. I mean, sorry, Fozzie, you're gonna hate me for mentioning this game, but one of the most incredible narrative moments I've had has been in Invisible Ink. And it wasn't something that was particularly story based, but it was this thing where I was getting down to a bit of a crunch. I won't explain the game too much, but essentially you're against the clock to complete a bunch of missions in order to kind of defeat this thing on the final day, right? So the clock is against you. And I had this of I had to leave a mission. I had to leave one of my agents behind. And when you do that in the game, it generates another mission somewhere else on the map where you can break into like a holding facility and rescue your other agent. And I had this thing where I was sitting there thinking, I'm really short on resources and really short on time. Do I press on with a solo agent and just try and get this done? Or do I take the time out to do the prison break missions, which are notoriously difficult, to complete in that game? And that was this wonderful sense of this plot moment that I'd created for myself with my gameplay, where I really cared about the decision I was making in that moment. And just as a binary choice of do I take on this mission or do I not take it on? So it's not that the game sort of pandered to me by creating this huge narrative around me, but the nature of the gameplay is what Alan was saying before. The nature of the gameplay and the nature of the game design lends itself to narrative content of your own in a way which I don't think Elite Dangerous has ever really done, because it's always largely just been a sandbox about completing specific tasks and getting money or kudos back for that.
There's a fundamental difference and question, though, isn't there, between a single-player game like Mass Effect, Skyrim, insert single-player game here, and having a massively multiplayer game that
I played that one, it's good.
Yeah, that almost has the pilot in Elite, the commander in Elite, is a nobody. They're not a Luke Skywalker, they're not a Han Solo, they're not the hero per se. And having to design a meaningful narrative and immersive quest system, mission system around that is a completely different matter to having a single player. Now, I'm a sort of an MMO aficionado, and I don't think there's a single MMO that's ever got that right in terms of making you feel as though you're involved in the overarching scheme, and yet being personal enough to have that, yes, this is my story. And I'm not even sure how that would be possible. As I say, there's a few games like Guild Wars 2 and Elder Scrolls Online that have kind of tried to do it, but the two are so different. I'm not sure anyone's cracked it yet.
Okay.
To be fair, you say that, Shan, but sorry to step on you. For names too tired for this. Phoenix, I'm sorry for stepping on you, but Shan, I see no difference between sitting down and playing Borderlands and that being my story, and sitting down playing Elite and that being my story.
The point I'm making is you can have a personal story. You can have. I think most MMOs have a individual personal story your character goes through, and they'll reach the end of level boss, and then they raid, and there's that personal story. But having it as part of an evolving, living narrative, which is one of the things that I do like about Elite, having a player to be able to be involved in that and still make it their story, and uniquely so, is a tricky thing to do.
Right. Well, I'm going to have to. I hate to actually do this because this is a conversation that would run for a 6-hour session, but we don't have the time for that tonight, unfortunately. So I'm going to draw a line under that there. We'll just quickly cut over the community corner of what everybody has been up to in the community for the last week or so. First off, we have a new distance record. The new record is 65,926 light years from Sol, which is 279 light years beyond the Centimus beacon, and that's been reached by Commander Vianna Helliot. So we have a link for her in the YouTube, which will will be available in the show notes. Also, congratulations to Ilyuk UK, who has raised £1,400 for Macmillan Cancer using a 24-hour live stream last weekend. This was Ilyuk UK's first UK stream. Aki.
I hate to correct you on your pronunciation. It's Aki UK.
So, for those of you that know the game, That's another drink. It's another 2 drinks, isn't it? Because I got that wrong twice. So share kudos and support over at her YouTube channel, which we will also include in the link. And the Buckyball results. By the way, Ben, how did you do in the Buckyball?
I'm gonna go with I only got 10. I technically landed on the 20-minute mark. Yeah, I landed at sort of 19 minutes 50 something seconds. I took off again at 20 minutes and 4 or 5 seconds. So
well,
I'm not counting that last takeoff, and I'm gonna go with I got 10, but my landing was 1950 something. Which would put me in, I think I'm now position number 38.
38 of 39, basically.
38 out of 39, yes.
Yes. Right.
Has anyone ever bettered my record slowest time for a buckyball?
I don't think so, Mr. Jarvis. You still are the slowest.
Yeah, brilliant.
Yes. Well, this buckyball, out of the lot of us, Psychic, well done. 11th place.
I'm good. It's not top 10. Gutted. I couldn't get that. I couldn't get that 15 stops.
I mean, I can't believe that. I don't know how you managed to do it. 14 with a time of 20 minutes and 20 seconds.
Because I'm really fucking fast, Colin.
All right.
And I'm infinitely better than you.
We should have a Lave radio. We need a Lave radio swear box, I think.
No. Come on. You've got to give it to Psychic. She's very proud.
I'm super proud. I cannot believe I'm even slightly competitive in this. So it's been very fun to do it.
Yeah, I came 22nd. The legend that is Wotherspoon came 33rd. So yeah, I must admit, I found this. I thought I wasn't going to enjoy this. I thought, I'll just do one run or a couple of runs and just see how I do. And then before I knew it, there was 8 or 9 runs later. I've got to do better. It was very, very addictive. So well played to Mal for the Win for helping to organise this, and of course everybody in the Buckyball Discord who has contributed. They had quite a lot of. That's 13. Let's say 39 people who took part. And
you've answered half of my question, but yes, okay, Psychic got 11th, but how many attempts did she take to get that?
That was on day 2, I think. Was that one? That was on day 2. I didn't better it after day 2. Everything went downhill from there. So that was probably my 4th attempt on that one.
So how many attempts did you actually do?
I've got no idea, Ben. I streamed it all week last week. I did an extra stream on Wednesday, doing buckyball racing for like 2 hours. It has consumed me. I have loved every second of it. It has been super fun actually feeling competitive in something and going, you know what, actually, I'm not a shit pilot. I'm okay. And I was quite enjoying that.
Yeah, I did find, I can't believe how drifty the D-rated engines
Oh god, yes it is. Yeah, you end up going sideways.
Yeah, this one time that I did it was my only time flying that ship, actually. Because I even had to, I got it kitted out in Shoutouts Desra, and then shipped over to the location. And that first takeoff was basically the first time I'd really flown it.
Oh my god.
Wow, it was drifty. So
don't throw it away though, because next month is Brother Sabathius's race, and that one looks like a really fun one as well, and that's going to be in the same Cobra.
Yeah, damn right I had to get it in that I only did it in one run, Alan.
I must admit, on my first run, I think I got 12.
I got 12 on my first as well, yeah.
Yeah, and then I seem to be gaining 30 seconds with every run, and so I was on 13. But I don't. Yeah, it is a drifty. It's a drifty. Yeah, it drifts more than people in Tokyo, don't it?
I was going to say it drifts more than a cutter.
That says something. Anyway, moving on from there, we've had a nice YouTube comment from Snowstalker36. He's actually wondering whether or not they should revisit some of the old CG rewards, because there's been, the corrosion-resistant cargo of 4 tons is quite limiting, and he thinks that maybe something like that, a couple of community goals to get that would be quite nice. Moving on from there, the mostly clueless section that we've got is from Domzilla 2112. So he's implied that when you use collector limpets, you can ignore certain items by going to the contact screen and setting Add to Ignore list next to the item. This is good for cutting down the amount of materials you don't need, and also for ignoring stolen cargo in a battle, so that you don't get done for the police. Now, Psykit, you're wanting to plug something.
I am very, very, very quickly. Sunday. I've done no prep for it whatsoever so far. I need to grab Cow at some point and just remind me how I do this very quickly. It is Game Blast weekend this weekend. Lots of money being raised for special effect. All across lots of different streams and all of that malarkey. On Sunday, I'm going to be playing some Elite Dangerous initially, and then at 7:30 we'll be doing a gaming quiz on Sunday night, hoping to raise a little bit of cash for special effect. And I have star stickers to stick on my face whenever anybody donates a $5 or more.
Yeah, we forgot the quizzes. We forgot the LaveCon grant quizzes, which are an experience to behold.
I will be using that software for my quiz.
Oh dear. So, just quickly before we disappear, we'll do some shout outs. Obviously, our sister station, Hutton Orbital Radio, it broadcasts on a Thursday at 8:30. You can tune in at twitch.tv, Hutton Orbital Truckers, or if you just want the audio, go to radio.forthemug.com. For the discerning commander who likes a bit of CQC action, you can check out the CQC Discord at discord.me/Elite Dangerous CQC. We also give shout outs to the following Elite Dangerous podcasts. We've got Alagrab AM, we've got Black Sky Legion, we have the Canon podcast, the Elitecast, the Fatherhood podcast. I'm getting yelled at now. We have obviously Flight Assist, we have the Guard Frequency, we have Loose Screws, Squeaking Fuel, and System Chat, all to say hello to. For those who want a literary discussion about sci-fi and fantasy books, there's the Data Slate podcast. I do believe you're still doing that, Alan?
Not really.
Oh. Well, should we take that off the list then?
I was just typing that into the chat. Yeah. I mean, we will do as and when, but yeah, I don't have time, I'm afraid, at the moment to be able to put that together along with everything else.
Well, following this, we also have the latest Galnet News Digest as provided by Commander Witherspoon and Commander Beetlejude. And we'll thanks everybody who has contributed in the chat room tonight, and to everybody who has basically met up around Lave Station. So I know that I can see about 3 or 4 people who have disappeared. I got Commander Motherload 666, but I do believe everybody else is another instance. So, Ben, who have you got over there?
Right, so I'm in here with Commander Epaphras, Jeannie Van Zyl, Huge Appendage, Katiana, Mac, Miggles, Nopleus, our lovely Psykit, who looks like she's been attacked by the protomolecule or something like that. Cow's in here. I know Toxic is around. I know I've already said Mac. And I know you have been here as well, Colin.
Yes, but I was getting connection.
Shan was here too. Shan was somewhere, I believe.
Yeah, I can't get back in either. I had to sort eldest mini Shan out with pure rats and stuff.
Well,
Fair enough.
Nobody's hovering outside Lave Station. I am sat here all alone.
Oh.
Sat by times.
Oh,
I did invite you to the team so you could try and join us.
I'm in the team.
Just fly in the slot and let it blow you up. Don't get a docking permission and we'll all watch from the bar. It'll be a beautiful wave going out.
Yeah, fly in and ram into us and then we'll just laugh. That'll be a lovely explosion for the end of the show.
you know what? I'll head out and see if I can see you, Dr. Toxic.
Watch him not instance now.
No.
So that is it, really, for... special thanks, of course, goes to Commander Tokuso, Commander J-Antrax, and, of course, Alan Stroud, who has created music that we are using on this show. But that is it for the 9th anniversary of Lave Radio. If you would like to get in touch with the show, you can email info@laveradio.com. You can hit us up at facebook.com/laveradio, tweet us at laveradio. You can join our Discord server by going to discord.io/laveradio. There's also a TeamSpeak server where commanders like to hang out and chat, which is shared with the Hutton Truckers. And you'll find that at teamspeak.laveradio.com. Do get in touch if you have any questions or if there's anything you'd like us to discuss in a future episode. Lave Radio is recorded live on a Tuesday evening at 8:30 and streamed out at laveradio.com/live. So, thanks to, and I have to take a very big breath for this one, Alan, Commander Thane, Dr. Toxic, Commander Fozzer, thank you, Mr. Stabler. Thank you, Psychic. Thank you, Psycho Cal. Thank you, Shan. Thank you, Ben. Have I missed anybody out?
That sounded like the end. That sounded like the end of the Waltons, didn't it?
It did.
Special thank you to
Chris Mark 4.
Ventura.
Yeah, I was just about to get to that. Special thanks to today's tech specialist, Commander Ventura, who's put an awful lot of effort in, especially for the bathroom update. So until next time, commanders, fly safe. But if you can't do that, fly dangerous.
Is your life like this?
Sounds like someone having an orange inserted. You need a safe word.
Space can be loaded.
I'm going to see the galaxy.
Damn it. No worries, guys. Hold the fort for 2 seconds. I'll be right back.
Forget the Uranus talk. This is the new outro.
According to scientists, Uranus is full of methane gas.
You've been dying for something to replace your Uranus.
I think you're right, though, Colin.
What have you done with Shan, and when can we have him back?
I don't know. I'm quite attached to this one, to be honest.
Yeah, that butt clenching really was awesome.
Galnet News Digest, 22nd of February 3308. We read the news so you don't have to. In this week's news, we look at the latest troubles in the Colonia Bridge project, and we have a look at some recent galactic record breakers.
The Colonia end of the Colonia Bridge project is failing, leading to fears that one of the 6 starports may be left without key services. Brewer Corporation has been getting the 6 starports, along the Colonia Bridge, fitted out with services to make them fit for use as a home base by commanders who want a break from the hustle and bustle of inhabited space. Last week's appeal went well, and all the stations will soon have universal cartographics and Vista Genomics. However, this week is different. The bubble end of the process is going well, and Zerais Station, Hellgrind Gateway, Vladimir McDougall's Triumph, Cannon Complex and Venatore's Hub will soon all have Pioneer Supplies, Crew Lounge and Search and Rescue services. But the appeal for construction materials at the Colonia end is going very slowly indeed, and it looks like plucky little Promium Relay in the charmingly named Eoch Flyway QK-E D12-2118 may be left without any of these vital services. Who could possibly base themselves at a starport where you can't buy an Artemis suit, where you can't hire a crew member, and where you can't turn in that occupied escape pod you scooped up? Although, given its proximity to Colonia, there's someone not too far away who might be willing to pay for a few more occupied escape pods to add to his collection.
It's been a week for records. Commander J.J. Goldberg arrived at Beagle Point from the bubble in record time. Commander Vivian Heliat flew for days and days beyond Samotus Beacon, and Commander Rasilas found themselves not just in another galaxy, but in another universe altogether. Commander LCU No Fool Like One has created a Crates and Adders board game that illustrates the way penal megaships can be used to speed up the trip from the bubble to Colonia, a journey Commander J.J. Goldberg recently completed in less than an hour after being dared to by LCU. Commander Goldberg's latest speedrun, also the result of a dare, was from the bubble to Beagle Point using the new pre-engineered Class 6A frameshift drive that the Brewer Corporation recently handed out as a reward. The time to beat was 4 hours and 18 minutes by Dr. Chives, who was using the previously best available FSD. Under the rules, the starting point can be anywhere within 350 light-years of Sol. Goldberg did the run 3 times after spending hours planning the 232 jumps in exquisite detail. In all, he spent nearly 12 hours jumping and scooping, breaking the record on each of the 3 runs, eventually shaving 35 minutes off the time and arriving at Beagle Point in just 3 hours, 43 minutes and 10 seconds. And he actually jumped all the way back again. Well, he did the first time, choosing instead the Remblock ride home for the second and third trips.
Meanwhile, for the last month and a half, Commander Vivian Heliat has been patiently supercruising with the help of a number of tanker ships, from Semitus Beacon on the far side of the galaxy from Sol, out into the intergalactic void, attempting to beat all previous records for the Commander to get the furthest away from Sol. She did this with the help of veteran point-and-fly-in-a-straight-line pilot, Commander Diluvian. You may think the 80-minute supercruise to Hutton Orbital is a long way, but Commander Heliat flew for around 50 days, in a straight line, stopping only to refuel from the tankers, which dropped out consecutively as they ran out of fuel. The new record for the furthest a commander has flown from Sol has now been established as 279 light-years beyond Semitus Beacon, which is 65,926.34 light-years from Sol.
Which would be great if a Commander Rasilas hadn't been fooling around next to a geezer in the Eeyore AOC JF-X B31-35 system. A particularly violent blast of the geezer appears to have blasted him 9 quintillion light-years away. That's a 9 with 18 zeros after it. The radius of the visible universe is only about 48 billion light years, so Commander Risilas's little accident has blown him 192 billion times further than the edge of the visible universe. In a very real sense, the unfortunate Commander is beyond not only the Milky Way galaxy, but also beyond all known galaxies, beyond the wall of the universe, where the laws of physics no longer apply. A place of infinities and marvels. Perhaps a place where the long-awaited space simulator Stellar Citizen has been released, and where you can find not only the Panther Clipper, but also Raxxla. So if anyone ever claims they've travelled further than anyone else from Sol, tell them about Commander Rasilas.
And that's this week's Galnet News. Galnet News, we read the news, so you don't have to.